I might as well have fed my 20 years of youth to the stray dogs. Day 1 of cutting ties, I clarified my relationship with the school beauty to the entire class. We are just neighbors. Day 2 of cutting ties. She never expected it, but I returned every single thing she ever gave me. I told her I wasn't worthy of these items. Day 3 of cutting ties, I changed my college application preferences. The farther away from the school beauty, the better. After walking out of the exam hall, she leaned against the school heartthrob's chest and shouted at me, "All 3 of us are going to Capital University." On the surface, I nodded in agreement. In my heart, I was thinking, is she out of her mind? The moment I turned my head, I secretly changed my application. I went to the Northeast all by myself. Late at night, she came looking for me, beaming with a plate of dumplings. I made these dumplings myself. They are chive and egg. I figured you liked them, so I brought them over. I knew she was showing weakness. She was apologizing. I also knew she rarely lowered her head to coax people like this. I didn't refuse. This would probably be our last meal anyway. After she left, she called me, asking why I didn't tell her. I was so calm that I didn't even have a ripple of emotion. Our 20 years of feelings had already been severed back on Mid-Autumn Festival. During a joint dinner between our 2 families, she publicly humiliated me, calling me a desperate, professional simp. It was only then that I realized, the person I had held in the palm of my hand and loved so dearly actually despised me this much. That day was the last birthday she ever spent with me. Every year my birthday wish was to marry Chloe Weaver as soon as possible. After all, ever since I could remember. Hearing this, the adults teased, "We can go ahead and set a wedding date." The corners of my lips hooked up. I was secretly rejoicing in my heart. But Chloe did something completely beyond my expectations. As the chatter grew louder, she suddenly stood up without any warning. The table was almost flipped over. I was startled. I subconsciously turned my head to look at her, with half a piece of shrimp still in my mouth. I had never seen her like that before. She stood there, her face full of absolute fury, tears swirling in her eyes, looking as if she had suffered the world's greatest injustice. "Who gave you the right to arrange my life? He is him. I am me. I will never marry him in this lifetime. Just give up on this idea." I was completely stunned. The half piece of shrimp fell to the floor. My throat felt like it was blocked by something hard, atching terribly. All the blood in my body nearly rushed to my head. My ears were buzzing. Uncle Weaver was the first to react, opening his mouth to scold her. "How are you speaking? Why can't I speak my mind?" In my eyes, he is just a neighbor. At best, he counts as an older brother. I don't like him at all, and let me tell you, stay far away from me from now on. You are not allowed to orbit around me anymore. It's so freaking annoying. Her last half sentence was pointed right at me. The resentment in her eyes made me want to crawl into a hole and disappear. Those were heavy words. It was no different from publicly pointing at me and calling me a shameless simp. My parents' faces turned an ashen green. Uncle Weaver was so furious he slapped her right there in public. With a crisp smack, my whole body trembled. This was the first time I had ever seen Uncle Weaver hit her. Her petite frame quickly spun around from the force, and the back of her head slammed hard against the corner of the wall. My mom and I subconsciously rushed over, but she shoved me away violently. Caught off guard, I fell back onto the floor. Bright red blood continuously dripped from her forehead, accompanied by a vicious glare. It looked as if she wanted to murder me. "Are you satisfied now?" I stared with wide, stunned eyes. Seeing her wipe her tears and turn to leave, I grabbed her. "What exactly do you mean by that? We might as well make it clear. Let me tell you. I hate how you shamelessly follow me around every single day. I am even less willing to have any relationship with you. Not in this lifetime." After that, she and I didn't speak a single word to each other. The morning sun was beautiful. She and I were like total strangers. The moment I stepped into the classroom, Chloe followed right behind me. In the past, she was always in front, and I was in the back. Now, I was in front, and she was in the back. Thinking about it, it was actually kind of funny. Our classmates always loved to tease the two of us. They said Chloe and I were lovebirds flying together, never separating. Seeing the two of us appear one after the other, several guys in the back row pinched their lips, blowing sharp whistles, and chattered away, teasing that our lovebirds have arrived. They usually said this too. Hearing it before, I would only feel joy. Today they were saying the exact same things. The words hadn't changed at all, but my mindset was completely different. I subconsciously turned my face to look at Chloe. She wore an icy expression, walked to her seat with a blank face, and pulled out a workbook to start studying. Looking at her cold demeanor, my heart ached like it was being pricked by needles. Some words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. Some things, once they happen, the ending is already destined. Since you want to draw a clear line with me, then let me help you out. I put my backpack behind my seat, stood on the podium, and faced the 50-something classmates below. For the first time, I clarified the relationship between Chloe and me. Dear classmates, Chloe and I are neighbors living across from each other. We come and go together, simply because our houses are just too close. I'm very sorry for causing everyone to misunderstand. What I want to tell everyone is, aside from being neighbors, Chloe and I are nothing else. Please don't make random guesses, and please stop making jokes about us. Thank you. As I stepped down from the podium, I saw the surprised and confused looks from my classmates. Passing by Chloe, I don't know if it was because of her injury, but her face looked even more awful. From then on, she and I never agreed to go to school together again. Although most of the time we would bump into each other somewhere, I would just politely nod. I would never take the initiative to say a single word. Many times she stopped by the side of the road, looking as if she was intentionally waiting for me. She would purse her lips as if she had something to say, but I pretended not to notice and walked right past her. My classmates didn't really believe what I said on the podium that day. After all, it had been over 10 years, and we were always inseparable. I heard from my deskmate that everyone even held a few secret committee meetings behind our backs to analyze the situation. Ultimately, they unanimously agreed that I was just mad at Chloe. Once my anger subsided, we would naturally return to our previous state. I had no comment on this. If they didn't believe it, whatever. It wasn't like I could pry open their skulls and download my thoughts into their brains. Anyway, facts would eventually speak for themselves. The third period on Thursday afternoon was PE class. High school seniors gnawed on their textbooks and workbooks every day, everyone tortured to the point of seeing stars, completely lethargic. The teachers were afraid we'd get totally depressed, so whenever it was PE class, they'd herd us all onto the track field. No stopping until we ran 3 to 5 laps. Because I had a cold, I took a sick leave and didn't go outside for class. About 20 minutes in, a classmate kicked the door open and rushed in. Seeing me, he grabbed me without explanation and dragged me outside. "Lance, Chloe tripped while running. She's hurt and bleeding a lot. Go check on her, quick!" Hearing that I had arrived, my classmates moved in perfect unison, parting to both sides, leaving a VIP lane just for me. Chloe suddenly lifted her head, looking over from a distance. Some emotion surged in the depths of her dark eyes, but it quickly reverted to the coldness I was most used to seeing. I suddenly snapped awake, involuntarily halting my steps. Only then did I realize that I had uncontrollably and proactively rushed over again. I couldn't help but pull my lips into a "What the heck am I doing?" Hearing she was hurt, I forgot everything and ran over here. I really am a natural-born masochist. Haven't I been scolded enough? Over 50 classmates were watching me, seemingly waiting for me to act like I used to. Running around nervously for her, grabbing water, buying medicine, taking care of her like a loyal servant. But I was no longer the old me. She didn't need me to do those things, and I had no reason to rush up to her anymore. Help her to the infirmary to get it treated. Leaving that single sentence, I turned and walked away without the slightest hesitation. My departure exceeded everyone's expectations. Immediately after I left, they launched into a heated discussion. People were saying all sorts of things. I treated it all as white noise. I didn't stop walking, and I didn't look back. Time slipped away quickly. In the blink of an eye, over half a month had passed since that day. I lived a bit lonely, but also, after evening self-study, I hugged a thick stack of review materials, said goodbye to my deskmate, and headed home alone. Maybe the night view was just too beautiful, but my mood was pretty good. I was in the mood to hum a song I'd heard somewhere before. Just as I was trying to recall the exact lyrics, she stepped out from the other side of the corner and stood firm right in front of me. Chloe was beautiful. Bright eyes, white teeth, graceful and slim. She had the capital to make boys obsessed and infatuated. But so what if she was pretty? She had nothing to do with me anymore. Suddenly seeing her, my chest involuntarily tightened. Unpleasant memories instantly flooded out. My heart ached like it was being twisted. Not wanting any further entanglement with her, I took a step to the right, trying to leave. Unexpectedly, she actually shifted her steps along with mine, blocking my path once again. I felt a bit annoyed. I lifted my eyes and looked at her, trying my best to keep my gaze calm and indifferent. "Do you need something? Can I wait to walk with you if I don't need something? Didn't we walk home together every day before?" I gave a tragic smile. "Before was before, now is now. There's no comparison. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. Bye." I stepped to the side again, wanting to walk away. She was quick with her hands and grabbed my left arm. "Lance, what are you doing? Is it necessary to be this absolute? Chloe, I need to go home. Please move out of the way. Lance Harper." She gritted her teeth. "What exactly do you want? Are you trying to cut me out of your life until we die of old age?" I only said a few harsh words. "Do you have to hold a grudge for this long? Didn't I already apologize? Since when did you become so petty?" I guess she didn't understand. It wasn't actually about those few words at all. It was about the intention behind. That was the root of what I cared about. She would never know that what she considered just a few harsh words inflicted an immeasurable amount of damage on me. Hearing her speak so nonchalantly, I lost my temper too. I lifted my head and looked her dead in the eye. "Chloe, isn't this exactly what you wanted? I did exactly what you asked, and you're still not satisfied. Please tell me, what exactly do you want me to do? You say it. As long as you say it, I'll do it." I heard the sound of her grinding her teeth. In the darkness, it was a bit chilling. "If you want to draw a clear line with me, why don't you just move out? Wouldn't that be a cleaner break? My dad is looking at houses. However, buying a new house is a big deal. I'm afraid it won't be resolved overnight. I'll urge my dad again when I get back. Don't worry. Even if I can't move out immediately, I won't pester you anymore. You're ruthless." Her face turned very ugly. After staring at me for a good while to confirm I wasn't just speaking out of anger, to bitterly drop those words, turned around and took large strides away. She quickly disappeared into the darkness. Time drifted by uneventfully. Our two families mostly resumed normal diplomatic relations, just not as enthusiastically as before, and there was always a barrier between Chloe and me. I never set foot in her room again. I rarely even went to their house. I tried to decline the joint family dinners as much as possible. In situations where I had to meet Chloe alone, I kept my distance as much as possible and maintained my silence. On New Year's Day that year, my mom originally planned for us to celebrate in our own home, but Uncle and Auntie Weaver invited us over and over again. My parents tried every excuse in the book, but still couldn't say no to them. I hadn't planned on going over, but surprisingly, Chloe came looking for me. I was sprawled on the sofa, wearing headphones and listening to music. She stood quietly beside me. Actually, I knew she had arrived. I just didn't know what mindset to use to face her, so I simply pretended not to know. Eventually, she pulled out my earphone. I had no choice but to open my eyes. "Need something?" I asked. She sat down next to me. I imperceptibly scooted toward the edge, earning a displeased frown from her. "Lance, actually I came to say I'm sorry." "What?" I thought I had misheard. "I came to say I'm sorry. I was wrong that day. I shouldn't have said those things to you. Although I won't like you, I've never truly hated you. From now on, no matter what, I will always treat you as a good older brother. And so, Lance, let's keep going to school and coming home together. Otherwise, my mom and auntie will still have to worry about us." I clenched my jaw tight. This so-called apology was basically ripping the skin. She might as well have said nothing. I had finally started to forget a little, and here she comes to remind me again. "Chloe, you really know how to murder someone without drawing blood." Time flew by in a flash. After the college entrance exams, the burden I had carried on my shoulders for over 10 years was suddenly lifted. I felt so relieved. I slept heavily for 2 straight days. Aside from eating and going to the bathroom, no matter who called me, I wouldn't get out of bed. On the 4th day after the exams, Chloe came over. At that time, I couldn't sleep anymore and was sitting at my desk, flipping through my old diaries page by page. I couldn't make up my mind whether it was better to keep treasuring them or burn them. Given my current relationship with her, burning them would be best. But thinking about my 20 years of silent devotion, I couldn't bear to part with them. I couldn't bear to part with her. I couldn't bear to part with them. The habit of writing diaries came from my dad. From the 1st grade of elementary school, I had filled several thick notebooks. They were entirely about every little detail between me and Chloe. A few diaries. That was my entire youth. A soft chuckle startled me. Turning my head, she was leaning against my bedroom doorframe, looking at me with a teasing expression. My heart panicked, but my hand steadily locked the diary in the drawer. I smiled at her. "Chloe, you're here! Our big sleep god is finally awake." She walked over, lifted herself up, and sat right on my desk. Her voice carried a bit of teasing. "How long has it been?" The dynamic between us truly was as bland as water. Her sudden proximity made me feel very unfamiliar. I uncomfortably dodged to the side. Her proximity used to make my heart flutter. Now her proximity made me want to hide. "Lance, how did you do on the test?" She looked at me with burning eyes, carrying some sort of... "I came over a few times, and you were sleeping every time." "You sure can sleep. It was okay." I kept my head down, not looking at her, focusing entirely on fiddling with a small ornament on my desk, making sure to keep my distance from her. Actually, I did great on the exam. It's just that there was a rift in my heart towards her. I couldn't converse freely with her like before. I was even afraid to lock eyes with her again. I was afraid I couldn't control my own heart and would continue to sink for her. As long as I saw her, I constantly reminded myself, she is the younger sister. I am the older brother. Do not cross the line. "Lance, tell me the truth. Are you still mad at me?" Perhaps sensing my coldness, her voice turned somewhat serious. I looked at her, confused. She looked at me for a while and gave a helpless smile. "Lance, let's apply to the same school. That way, we can still go to classes together." I smiled and said, "I haven't decided yet." This conversation about which university to apply tended up going nowhere. She didn't get my final answer. When she left, there was a slight hint of regret. I didn't tell her that someone had come looking for me, very cryptically expressing the hope that I would not apply to the same school as her. In my bones, my personality is actually very stubborn. I don't just blindly obey what others tell me to do. Whether or not to listen to that person's words was entirely up to me, and whatever decision I made would not have the slightest connection to that person's demands. I am me. The current me lives for myself and my parents. During dinner that night, Chloe came over again. She carried 2 plates of steaming dumplings and said, "Auntie, chive and egg dumplings, fresh out of the pot. They smell amazing." As I was thinking about how much Lance likes them, eat them while they're hot. At that point, I had already scarfed down a huge bowl of rice and 3 pieces of braised ribs. There wasn't much room left in my stomach, but under her eager gaze, I symbolically tried one and then put down my chopsticks. After she left, my mom brought up the topic of college applications. She said she had thought about it, and it was probably better to apply to the same school as Chloe. No matter what, we grew up together. We were familiar with each other, and we could look out for one another. I didn't respond. I already had my own plans in my head. There was a guy in the class next door at school named Chad. He transferred from out of town. He was the universally acknowledged school heartthrob. Those two hands holding each other made my heart ache over and over again. The day we went back to school after the exams to check our answers, I saw with my own eyes him pulling Chloe to hide in a corner, telling her he wanted to apply to the same university as her, because he wanted to be her knight, to protect her forever. At that time, my heart hurt so much I felt like I was going to die. She and I submitted our applications on the same day. After she finished hers, she darted into my room like a rabbit, excitedly asking if I had made my choice. Right then I saw her eyes filled with starlight, and it wasn't for me. I knew that. I picked, is it capital U? Capital U is expanding their enrollment this year. You'll definitely get in, Chloe. Is Chad going to capital U too? Actually, I didn't want to ask, because I already knew the answer. But I still opened my mouth and asked, just for that nearly non-existent tiny sliver of possibility. How stupid was I? Still holding on to hope for her. But what could I do? I just liked her. Chloe paused, and then broke into a wide smile. Yeah, him? His goal since he was little was to go to capital U. I lowered my eyes, concealing the sour ache in my chest. Chloe's smiles gradually faded. She stared fixedly at the fake smile on my face, the depths of her eyes turning pitch black. Lance, thank you. And I'm sorry. She had said sorry way too many times, but those few weightless words couldn't mend the scars on my heart. I gave a faint smile. I shifted my gaze to a certain spot on the desk. Sitting there were 4 little tiger figurines in various poses. Each one looked mighty and domineering. Those were what she handed to me on my 18th birthday. I remembered her saying back then, Lance, I prepared these for my future boyfriend. I'll leave them with you for safekeeping for now. When I find a boyfriend, you can give them back to me. Back then, I was happily thinking that the boyfriend she mentioned would be the future me. Now I finally understood. She really just wanted me to be a storage unit back then. 3 years had passed. She found the boy she liked. My career as a storage unit had also come to an end. I picked up those 4 little tigers and placed them in her hands. She looked at me, confused. What for, Chloe? You said the words. You did the actions. Do you have to play innocent at a time like this? That year you entrusted me to keep these for you, saying they were a gift for your future boyfriend. Now that you've found your boyfriend, it wouldn't be right for me to keep hogging them, returning them to their rightful owner. In the final minute before clicking confirm, I changed my university choice from Capital Uto Northern U, a famous university in the north. Their traditional Chinese painting major was nationally renowned. I heard many great masters came from there. Since I didn't want to go to Capital U, that was my best alternative. Both Uncle and Auntie Weaver asked me if I had chosen Capital U. I vaguely brushed them off every time. The day the acceptance letters arrived, I couldn't recover my senses for a long time. She and I were ultimately not people of the same world. Going to college was just another milestone in drawing a clear line between her and me. Holding her own acceptance letter, she ran to my house in sheer excitement, clamoring to see mine. Lance, bring out your acceptance letter so I can admire it. Here's mine, take a look too. Her smile was so pretty, just like the smile in my memory that kept me awake all night. I calmly placed my acceptance letter into her hand. She stared at the name of the school, her eyes widening in shock. She was shocked. She was also surprised. I had always listened to her. It seemed she never expected that on such a major event like college applications, I would make a decision that went against her wishes. She probably still hadn't realized. I had long ceased to be the old me. She was the one who changed me. Lance! Why? There seemed to be a trace of hurt in the depths of her eyes. Chloe, without you, I am already very sad. I cannot lose myself anymore. You don't love me, so just let me walk my own path. My teacher said the Chinese painting major there suits me better. I smiled faintly. I didn't look at her eyes again. Nor did I look to see what expression she had after hearing my answer. You must still be holding a grudge against me. If my mom finds out you didn't apply to the same school as me, she'll probably beat me up. She won't, if Auntie really tries to beat you, since we live so close. I'll definitely hear the noise. I'll personally explain it to Auntie clearly. I won't let you get hurt, I answered her calmly. She suddenly leaned in right in front of me. She was so close to me, so close I could count her eyelashes. My heart started beating wildly again. Failing to live up to my expectations, I really loved these eyes of hers. They seemed to hold an entire galaxy. Lance, look at me. Are you still hung up on what I said that day? Are you still blaming me? You never forgave me. Lance, I was talking nonsense that day. Can't you just forget it? I can't forget. You hurt me so deeply. How could I not care? And how could I easily forget? Losing romance is already pathetic enough. I couldn't lose my dignity too. Besides, knowing it was a fruitless endeavor, why should I make us both carry this heavy burden forward? I forgot it a long time ago. She left. Her complexion wasn't looking too good. I didn't understand. I had already gone this far. What else was she unsatisfied with? Download Shuki novels. Search Forget the Chills to read the full episodes. I finally let go. Consider my 20 years of youth fed to the dogs. The southern city where I lived belonged to the true south, and northern U was in the north, over 3,000 kilometers away. It could truly be called the ends of the earth. My parents couldn't bear the thought of me going so far away. They worried I wouldn't adapt to the climate there and wouldn't be used to the food. The night I received the acceptance letter, my mom cried and asked if I wanted to repeat a year of high school and then apply to capital U next year. Or if worst comes to worst, that normal university in our city would do. Being closer would make it easier to take care of me, and it would save them from worrying about me day and night. I understood my mother's painstaking efforts. But what about my painstaking efforts? I wanted to forget her. I wanted to start over. I always needed an environment suitable for forgetting. I didn't speak. I just looked at my mom eagerly. A mother is the person who understands her child's heart best in this world. She used the corner of my shirt to wipe her red, teary eyes. Northern U is quite good. Their Chinese painting major is even more famous than capital U's. You go there and study hard. Strive to get into a combined master's and doctoral program. Your dad and I will retire in a few years. If you want to stay there, your dad and I will move over to keep you company. What are you crying for? Isn't Maya over there? With her there, she and Lance can look out for each other. Lance won't be lonely. My parents' thoughtfulness and love extremely effectively dispelled the melancholy and reluctance buried in my heart. At that time, my mind was solely focused on escaping from Chloe's side. When I submitted my application, I acted entirely on my own thoughts. I completely forgot that Uncle Weaver actually had another daughter, and she was studying for her master's at the Northern U I had selected. Some things are perhaps destined by fate. Fortunately, that person was no longer Chloe. Instead, it was Maya, an older sister who doted on me like a younger brother. Chloe left a day earlier than I did. I really wanted to go see her off. But thinking about the words she had said, I lacked the courage to step out my front door. I could only quietly watch her through the peephole on the door. She pushed her suitcase and stood in front of my house for a full 2 minutes. It wasn't until Uncle Weaver rushed her that she lifted her feet and left. I was on this side of the door, watching her leave, step by step walking away from her home, step by step walking out of my world. Her silhouette disappeared into the stairwell. I stumbled onto the balcony, hiding in the corner. I once again watched her slowly walk far away. She and I were finally separated. That unspeakable crush of mine was left homeless. College life was novel and busy. Yet I kept thinking about every minute and every second, wondering what she was doing right now, wondering if she thought of me. Since I was born, I had never been separated from her for such a long time. This made me very unaccustomed. My heart always felt empty. To distract myself, I joined several clubs. Whenever I had free time, I volunteered. I turned myself into a spinning top, working like a dog every day. Falling asleep the second I crawled into bed. After we each reported to our respective colleges, we still kept in touch. It was always her through WeChat, asking me how I was doing, asking me to send some photos for her to see. I suppressed my heart hard. Every reply of mine was bland, simple and direct. As for the photos she wanted, I didn't know if she wanted photos of me or photos of the school. I analyzed that the latter was highly probable, so I took many photos featuring cultural landmarks and sent them to her. Later, we didn't contact each other much. We often went 10 days or half. She had the boy she liked, keeping her company. I didn't want to cause any misunderstandings, and I didn't want my personal feelings to affect her life. So no matter how much I missed her, I held back and never proactively sent her a single word. Right before winter break, she reached out to me once. She asked me when I was going back. I held my phone, staring at those simple words, feeling a mix of joy and sorrow. After thinking for a long time, I typed a string of words on my phone screen and replied, "Haven't decided yet. Anyway, it's not on the same route. Don't worry about me." That afternoon, she posted a WeChat moment. It only had 4 words. "We are going home." The 2 pictures below it, one was a booking record for 2 plane tickets. The other was of 2 hands holding each other. My heart hurt so much, I dragged my suitcase alone, crossing mountains and seas to embark on the journey home. The winter break in the north was relatively long. I could comfortably nest at home for a few extra days. I could also eat my mom's home-cooked meals every day. This was what I dreamt of most at school. Maya came back a few days earlier than I did. After finding out I was back, she would knock on my door from time to sit for a while and chat with me. Every time she came over, she was always smiling. She told me bizarre anecdotes from her school. She talked about how close her dorm building was to Chad's. She talked about all the places they had gone to play, and then she showed me their photos together one by one. I told her about the goosefeather snow in the north and the long straight icicles hanging from the eaves. I talked about those northerners who weren't afraid of the cold, smashing open the thick ice to jump in for a swim. Most of the time, she just listened quietly, occasionally revealing a faint smile. Sometimes she called me a glutton. Sometimes she reminded me to keep warm and not catch a cold. Sometimes she'd say I needed to take better care of myself since I was alone over there. Everything she did and said, I chalked it all up entirely to a sister's care for a younger brother. I didn't dare think too much, and I didn't dare truly listen to the deeper meanings. Anyway, I still had to live my own life by myself. Everything else was just floating clouds. One day she came in. I had both legs propped up on the coffee table, savagely gnawing on a watermelon, getting watermelon juice everywhere. She rolled her eyes at me twice, went to the bathroom, grabbed a wet towel, and tossed it to me. Her tone was quite full of disgust. Look at how unrefined your eating habits are. What girl would be willing to be with you? So, you had to treat my love like garbage and trample on it, just to tear me down so miserably. My heart gave a sudden sharp ache. Chloe, stay further away from me, please. The spring festival was ultimately spent with both families. Our family of 3 was dragged over to Uncle Weaver's house early on. Window paper cuts were pasted on the windows. Delicate string lights hung on the balcony. The sporadic sounds of firecrackers going off outside. Various New Year topics broadcasting on the TV. Everything amplified the festive atmosphere even more. I had nothing to do. Several times I wanted to go home and hole up in my little room, but Auntie stopped me every time. She wanted me to go to Chloe's room and hang out with her. I didn't refuse, but I didn't go either. Instead, I nestled in the corner of the sofa, scrolling through my phone alone. The events of the past hung over my head like 3 sharp knives. I didn't dare to forget even for a second. Chloe had apologized for it, but I couldn't get over that hurdle in my own heart. I don't know if this made me too petty. I only knew there was always a long bleeding scar on my heart. My phone was suddenly snatched away. I was startled. Chloe was hanging one arm on the sofa armrest next to me. Her other hand held my phone right up to her face, looking at my screen. "I'm watching a show, give it back." I reached out to snatch the phone back. She quickly yanked her hand back, shot me a glare, turned around and ran off with large strides. "If you want your phone, come to my room to get it." I didn't want to go to her room, and I definitely didn't want to chase after her. But remembering that my phone still had many saved photos of her, which she didn't know about, if she saw them, she would inevitably overthink things again. I had no choice but to get up and go find her to retrieve my phone. By the time I walked over, she was already sitting at her desk. "Come in, let's watch it together." She was smiling happily, starlight shimmering in the depths of her eyes. "Chloe, the person you like isn't me. Why do you keep bothering me? I'm not going in, bring it out to me, too scared to come in." "Lance, when did your skin get so thin? Just keep watching your web drama if you like it. I can watch TV instead." I lowered my eyes, speaking in a flat tone. I turned around, about to leave. She stopped me, displeased. "Are you really such a sore loser? Can't even take a joke? You're just as petty as he is. Here, as if I even wanted to look at it." She raised her hand and tossed the phone to me. I hastily caught it. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of the anger on her face. I couldn't help but feel a headache coming on. I suddenly didn't know how to interact with her anymore. With my phone back in hand, I had no more desire to binge-watch my show. Instead, I kept chewing over the words she had just said. Who was the he she was referring to? She had a unique personality since childhood. She didn't like mingling with boys. I was pretty much the only exception by her side. You didn't even need to think to know who that he was. It was Chad. After figuring it out, I opened my phone's photo gallery and deleted those photos accumulated over the years, one by one. Close to 9 o'clock, Maya called via video chat. We had a lively chat for quite a while. "Lance, come here. Your older sister has something to say to you." I sat down. On the phone screen, Maya was quietly observing me, a hint of a smile hidden in the depths of her eyes. "Lance, I've been out sketching with the professor, so I couldn't go pick you up. How are things? Is everything okay at school?" "Pretty good. Haven't seen you in over a year, Maya. You've added a bit more mature charm." In those eyes shimmering with starlight, waves of light rippled. Chloe was already very good looking. Maya was even a step above Chloe. "Are you not used to the food? Why have you lost so much weight?" "Not at all. I actually really like northern food, especially that sweet and sour pork, gubawaru." Perhaps my gluttonous look amused Maya. She raised her eyebrows and slowly broke into a huge smile, filled with total indulgence. "I'll be back around March or April. I'll treat you to sweet and sour pork." Maya's call added a lot of joy to my New Year's Eve. Happy days always slip away easily. Before I even realized it, it was time for the new semester to start. Under the intense intervention of my mom and auntie, Chloe and I booked flights for the exact same day. When we arrived at the airport, Chad was standing by the curb waiting with a smile. Escaping her parents' watchful eyes, Chloe became very hyper. She happily ran over, grabbed his hand and threw herself into his arms. People in passionate love truly feel like a day apart is like 3 autumns. I harbored a jar of old vinegar in my heart. I turned my head away, refusing to look. I dragged my luggage into the terminal all by myself. The academic load this semester was much heavier than the last. I tossed aside all distracting thoughts and threw myself wholeheartedly into my studies. Gradually, I realized my heart had calmed down. I participated in a competition organized by the department. My ranking was surprisingly high. It practically caused a sensation throughout the department. A guest professor highly appreciated my painting. He asked me to paint my own interpretation of blooming flowers and prosperity. He said if I painted it well, he would take it to some art exhibition to show it off, and he would accept me as his graduate student. This professor held an extremely high status in the traditional Chinese painting circle. To be personally guided in painting by him was simply the ultimate dream of any student in the Chinese painting department. When I nervously handed it to the professor, he was in a video conference with someone. Just as I was about to retreat, the professor waved me in. He picked up my painting and displayed it right to the screen, asking the people on the other end to critique it one by one. Only after the meeting ended did I find out those were the professor's graduate students. He was guiding their coursework online. Undoubtedly, my painting once again received extremely high praise. The professor demanded that I add a girl on the other end on WeChat. He said our paintings each had unique styles and could complement each other. He wanted me to communicate more with her regarding insights on Chinese painting. I originally didn't want to add her, but the professor disregarded my personal wishes, snatched my phone, pulled up my personal QR code, and shoved it in front of the webcam. "Professor, I have his WeChat." A clear, cold voice pierced my ears. "You guys know each other?" The professor held the phone back out in front of me. Seeing that person, I smiled. It was Maya. She was on the other end of the internet connection, looking at me with a smile. "She's my older sister. Be good. Pay attention in class. I'll be back soon. I'll treat you to something delicious." Maya's smile was very gentle, indulgent toward me, just as always. The professor praised my artistic talent to anyone he met. In his mouth, I became a rare genius. Practically overnight, I became a prominent figure in the department, and even the whole school. I shot up to the top 3 on the school's popularity ranking. Even my personal photo was plastered on the main billboard, making it so the majority of the school recognized me. After that, the number of people seeking me out to paint increased, both paid and unpaid. I was busy as hell. My mood gradually cleared up. Maya was a few years older than me. Normally, I just enjoyed. I didn't actually know that much about her. Now that I was in contact with her more often, I found she was actually a very interesting person. Every few days, she would discuss knowledge related to Chinese painting with me. She would pass on some of her experience to me. Sometimes she would send over her paintings, and we would appreciate them together. I would also consult her whenever I hit a bottleneck. She would always give me the most pertinent advice, benefiting me immensely. Because our hobbies and interests aligned so well, she and I chatted perfectly. Hanging out was incredibly relaxed. Sometimes when I squeezed out a bit of free time, I would check WeChat moments to exercise my endurance levels. Chloe had completely changed from her previous coldness. She was practically flaunting her happy life every single day. If it wasn't them having a little drink as a couple, it was a hand-holding date. In short, wave after wave of PDA making. I wanted to use the sweet and sour pork Maya promised to sweeten my mouth, but Maya's return date kept getting delayed over and over. I had no choice but to go eat it twice with my roommates. That summer vacation she didn't contact me, and I didn't bother her. Once again, I strapped on my backpack and embarked on the journey home alone. I guess I was used to life without her. I was learning to slowly grow up on my own. My flight took off at night. It was a little past 6 a.m. when I arrived home. No time to talk to my parents. I took a quick shower and dove headfirst into bed to catch up on sleep. By the time I woke up from a chaotic, messy dream, it was already noon. My mom was bringing cooked dishes to the table. Seeing I was awake, she waved me over to eat. "I want cold noodles for dinner. Your auntie is treating us to dinner out tonight. Save the cold noodles for another day." Dinner was at that newly opened private kitchen on the corner. I arrived late. When I entered the private room, there was only one empty seat left. "Lance, you're the only dawdler. The whole family is waiting just for you." Before I even had time to sit down, Chloe spoke up. I lifted my eyelids, just about to speak, when a person suddenly stabbed into my eyes like a sharp knife, hurting so much I almost couldn't breathe. I hadn't seen him in half a year. He had matured quite a bit. His eyes were swirled with a tenderness that couldn't be melted away. Chloe leaned against Chad's arm, wearing a shy smile. Chad held her hand. The two of them were so intimate there wasn't a sliver of space between them. My eyes hurt so much, my heart hurt even more. She brought him back to meet the parents. All those past memories between me and Chloe that belonged solely to me came to an abrupt screeching halt at this very moment. They no longer had any reason to exist. For a moment I was lost and didn't know what to do. "Lance, sit down. What do you like to eat? Auntie will order it for you." Auntie enthusiastically greeted me. I sat in my seat in a daze. Right across from me was that sweetly huddled couple. At this moment I really wanted to gouge my own eyes out. Chloe looked at Chad with eyes so soft and sweet. "This is the neighbor brother I always tell you about, Lance Harper." "Lance, this is my boyfriend, Chad." Of course I recognized him. He and I were classmates in the same grade. The transfer student from out of town, the undisputed cool heartthrob. His gentle delicacy and my careless, rough personality were simply worlds apart. Girls probably all liked his type. From this point alone, I truly couldn't compare to Chad. What could I say? I could only smile like an idiot. "Lance, Chad is very introverted. You have to get along well with him. No bullying him." We had known each other for 19 years. She definitely knew what kind of person I was. Yet She was discreetly warning me in front of everyone's watchful eyes, as if I was some venomous snake. I wasn't that kind of person, but I was truly very disappointed. I guess Uncle and Auntie knew about the situation with Chad's family. They were very unhappy. Once the banquet started, they constantly put food in my bowl, completely ignoring Chad. Chad was a bit at a loss for what to do. Chloe continuously comforted him in a low voice. My mom and dad, constrained by the fact that this was the Weaver family's private matter, found it inconvenient to speak much. As for me, from the moment the dishes started arriving, I focused entirely on the food. When I was about done eating, I put down my bowl and chopsticks, and went to a small balcony outside to get some fresh air. I didn't want to watch them show off their affection. The balcony was very small, and the location was hidden. I tucked myself away in there. It wasn't easy for people to spot me. Not long after, a flurry of light, chaotic footsteps stopped right outside the balcony. I didn't want to be discovered, so I soundlessly shuffled further inside. Chloe, what exactly is so great about that, Chad? That makes you so dead set on him? When you graduate college and enter a state-owned enterprise, there will be a background check. With his family background, will that work? In what aspect can he compare to Lance? Why do you insist on choosing him? I was shocked. It was actually Auntie and Chloe. I really wanted to leave. This was the Weaver family's business after all. As an outsider, it wasn't good for me to know too much. Unfortunately, the balcony was a dead end. Unless I jumped down, I couldn't leave until the mother and daughter left. Chloe was clearly madly in love with Chad. She disregarded everything, lowering her voice to argue with Auntie. In the area I could see, Chad stood to the side, looking helpless. Although a smile hung on his face, that smile inexplicably carried a bit of inferiority. For a split second, I actually felt a bit of sympathy for him. Actually, what did he do wrong? His parents' matters had nothing to do with him. He just met a girl he liked and wanted to protect her, that's all. As for the messy history between me and Chloe, it truly had nothing to do with them. Taking it a step further, actually neither Chloe nor Chad was wrong. They just wanted to live the life they liked. I couldn't help but laugh self-deprecatingly. Why was I able to find flawless justifications for everyone else but absolutely couldn't save myself? Outside, Chloe obviously couldn't control her emotions. Her voice raised again and again. Mom, can't you think about me for a second? The person I like is Chad. Only by being with him will your daughter be happy? No matter how good Lance is, he's just a neighbor. At best, he counts as my neighbor brother. I don't like him. I don't like him now. And it's impossible for me to like him in the future. With a boom, it felt like something heavy smashed down on the top of my head. Something kept welling up inside me. My nose stung intensely. I swayed, almost unable to stand steady. My heart ached like it was going to split open. I didn't want to listen anymore, because I didn't know what other life-shattering, agonizing things Chloe would say if I continued to stay hidden. Auntie was so angry her face turned pale. She raised her hand, about to slap her. I stepped out of the balcony and grabbed Auntie's arm. Auntie's face instantly changed. She grabbed my hand back. Her lips trembled, unable to utter a single word. The guilt in her eyes was like seawater, about to drown me entirely. Chloe turned to look at me. Her gaze was freezing cold, freezing the tip of my heart to a tremble. I didn't know where the coldness in her eyes came from and why it was being directed at me. I gave a self-deprecating smile, patted Auntie's hand to soothe her emotions. Auntie, I don't like Chloe, and she doesn't like me either. It's impossible for us to be together. Plus, I already have someone I like. We are doing very well right now. Download Shuki novels, search Forget the Chills to read the full episodes. I finally let go, consider my 20 years of youth fed to the dogs. That night, I lay in bed, unable to fall asleep for a long time. The pain in my chest kept spreading. Approaching midnight, she sent me a WeChat message. Do you really have a girlfriend? Who is she? I stared at the phone screen unblinking for a long time, so long my eyes turned sore. It's not you anyway, why do you care so? I put the phone on silent and tossed it to the end of the bed. I didn't reply. The next morning, sporting massive panda eyes, I invited a few high school buddies to go mountain climbing. After yesterday's incident, I really didn't want to see Chloe, but our houses were too close. If I didn't want to see her, I had to hide outside. That was my original intention for going hiking. By the time I cleaned myself up and opened my front door, coincidentally, Chloe was arm in arm with Chad, putting on her shoes with her door open. Talk about terrible luck. Bumped into them again. I gave a simple greeting, not planning to say much. Pretty punctual. Let's go. I called a car downstairs. I was stunned. You guys are going too? Otherwise what? Let you go out and play all by yourself? Chloe looked at me sideways. The teasing implication in her eyes was extremely thick. I just felt my heart turn icy cold. We're going mountain climbing. Can't you just give me a moment of peace? What could I do? I was the one who initiated the activity. If I bailed halfway, those animals would definitely storm my house. If there hadn't been other people around, I truly would have slapped myself in the face. I wanted to go out just to avoid seeing them, and I ended up bringing them right under my own nose. I was literally asking for torture. A few buddies were waiting at the foot of the mountain. They were all guys I usually hung out with. This was our first get-together since summer vacation started. Boys' friendships are simple and pure. We put our arms around each other's shoulders, laughing and shouting, having a blast. They all knew about the messy history between me and Chloe. Before, they used to joke that she and I were the golden couple. In everyone's eyes, I was supposed to be with Chloe, but seeing Chloe holding another guy's hand right in front of me, they were confused. They kept shooting me glances, the fire of gossip burning fiercely. What could I say? Say that my crush was always one-sided? Say that she always just saw me as a brother? I couldn't say anything. I just smiled bitterly. Chloe, your boyfriend, why don't you introduce him to the guys? Chloe blushed, smiling shyly. Since when did you get a boyfriend? Does it have anything to do with that 1-2 something math score? Jake was a straight shooter. Totally ignoring my hints, he just yelled it out at the top of his lungs. My feelings for Chloe, these bros knew perfectly well. The incident back then where I was publicly scolded by her, they were all in the know, and they even scolded Chloe back for several days because of it. This guy Jake was super protective of his friends. He must have been trying to seek justice for me in his own way. I smiled helplessly. This guy, really bringing up the exact topic we shouldn't touch. Chloe was visibly displeased. Ben, who was closest, relying on his tall height and long arms, he clamped a hand over Jake's mouth. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and climb the mountain. Climbing a mountain is physical labor. It's not suited for these guys who only know how to gnaw on books since childhood. We only made it halfway up the mountain, and everyone was exhausted. Sitting under the shade of a tree to rest and cool off, they all surrounded me, looking like they wanted to speak but hesitated. That look of wanting to talk but being afraid of hurting me was both funny and heartwarming. Luckily, I had them today. Otherwise, I would have been abused like a dog by Chloe in secret. I'll only say this once. Nobody is allowed to ask anymore after this. The arranged marriage thing back then was just a joke by the older generation. She has always seen me as an older brother. I was the one who misunderstood. Chad is the person she actually likes. What about you, Lance? Don't tell us that your feelings for her were fake. I smiled bitterly. How could they be fake? For Chloe, I almost abandoned myself. But you can't force a melon to be sweet. She is her. I am me. If you guys can't stand to see me single, if you have any female cousins or whatever at home, you can introduce them to me. Lance, you must be dying inside, right? I turned my head to look at a small daisy blooming in the distance. For a very, very long time. It will pass. The crowd let out a collective sigh, sighing over the unpredictability of the world and the fickleness of human hearts. Then, with high spirits, they declared that after going back, they would cast a wide net, focus on the main catch, swearing to find me a girlfriend 100 times better than Chloe. I couldn't argue with them, so I just let them talk nonsense. We finally climbed to the peak. The guys clamored to go to the only shop there to eat shaved ice. With one glance, I spotted Chloe and Chad, who had somehow gotten up here first, holding a box of raspberries, sitting on a bench under a tree, feeding each other one berry at a time. The two of them locking eyes constantly, a gaze full of lingering affection. My heart instantly tightened, feeling 10 times more sour than the raspberries. Not wanting to torture myself, I turned and walked in the opposite direction. Ben followed beside me. Couldn't help but mutter under his breath, Chloe is heartless and blind. She will definitely regret this later. That Chad guy doesn't look simple at all. With your goofy, honest personality, how could you ever be his match? His face was full of righteous indignation. I didn't interrupt him. Waited until he finished his rant, and then told him Chloe and I were long past history. Don't bring it up again. He gritted his teeth and listed out all my useless traits. Hating the fact that I wasn't made of stronger stuff, I had no heart to argue with him. Just stood to the side quietly being a listener, occasionally passing him water to wet his throat. Jake called. Said they found a peach tree growing out of a cliff face over there, full of fruit, wanted us to come check it out. There are plenty of peach trees, but a peach tree growing out of a cliff face was rare. Ben and I hurried over to see the novelty. On the eastern slope facing the sun there truly was a super large peach tree growing, inserted diagonally into the cliff face, full of large and small peaches, weighing the branches down heavily. I saw a peach branch very close to me. Seemed like if I just reached out I could grab it. My playful spirit took over, and I climbed onto the railing, ignoring the bros' protests. Reached out to grab a protruding peach branch. I don't know if it was my bad karma, or if the railing was in such disrepair it couldn't support my weight. I just felt a wave of dizziness, and I tumbled headfirst downward. Maybe I wasn't destined to die yet. In that life or death moment, I reached out in time and grabbed a vine sticking out from a rock crevice. Only then did I stop my fall, hanging myself in midair. Jake and the others were yelling something non-stop up above. My ears were buzzing. I couldn't hear anything clearly. This was a scenic area. There was a rescue team right on the mountain. People arrived very quickly. By the time I was pulled up from the cliff face by 2 young guys, Chloe was holding Chad's hand, running toward me together. Lance, how could you be so careless? How is it? Are you hurt? For the convenience of hiking, I was wearing a short-sleeved t-shirt and shorts. My exposed arms and legs all had various degrees of cuts and scrapes, covered in blood. Even I was scared looking at myself. The wounds hurt terribly. Fear and the lingering dread completely occupied my emotions, so much so that I couldn't answer her question for a moment. Chad squatted between her and me, intercepting the arm she was extending towards me, softly comforting her. Chloe, don't panic. Lance will definitely be fine. I had just escaped mortal danger. The fear of surviving a near-death experience surrounded me. I only felt cold, my whole body shivering like a sieve. I didn't want to watch them show off their affection in front of me, so I simply closed my. My buddies saw me shivering into a ball. Their faces changed too, crying out to the heavens, asking this and that. By the time the rescue team carried me down the mountain, the ambulance was already there. A few bros sat with me in the back. The ambulance wailed as it sped toward the hospital. From the moment I was carried down the mountain to being loaded onto the ambulance, Chloe had carefully held Chad's hand the whole time, following behind us. The only ones surrounding me were my good bros from the past, At this moment, my heart grew completely cold. The ambulance stopped at the hospital entrance. I saw my parents rush over like crazy people. Those two pairs of teary eyes made my heart ache. I ran off to find peace and quiet because of Chloe. She turned a blind eye to my injuries, but my parents shed old tears for me. Good thing I still had them. At least it wasn't like no one cared about me. I stayed in the hospital for 4 days. My parents stayed by my side, taking care of me non-stop. Uncle and Auntie Weaver came every day, bringing fruits, delivering meals. They went through a lot of trouble. I felt embarrassed, and my heart ached for them. I think I understood their intention. They were using their actions to make up for my suffering. As for Chloe, she knew I was injured, yet she never came to see me even once. If I said I wasn't disappointed, that would be a lie. On the 3rd day of my hospitalization at noon, I had just woken up from my nap when I heard suppressed arguing at the door. The voices were very familiar. It was Chloe and Chad, but separated by the door, I couldn't hear very clearly. It seemed Chloe wanted to visit me, and Chad wouldn't allow it. The two of them stood outside my ward door, arguing unhappily. I was being discharged tomorrow anyway. Whether she came to see me or not was already irrelevant. If her visiting me would cause Chad to have some thoughts, it was better that she didn't come. Listening to them, I fell back asleep until my mom pushed the door open and came in. I woke up groggily. This injury really scared me to death. The doctor had been giving me sedatives, which made me very prone to sleeping. The ward was the same as usual. She ultimately never came. My mom asked me why my expression looked weird. I smiled and said it was nothing. When I was discharged, both families turned out in full force, standing in a massive crowd filling the ward. Uncle and Auntie Weaver packed my things. My mom helped me put on my clothes. My dad half knelt on the floor tying my shoelaces. A room full of bustling chaos. My heart felt warm. Without romantic love, I still had this deep, sweet familial love. I was actually very rich. Chloe stood far away, next to a rather unhappy Chad. Several times she wanted to come over and help, so she just had to stand there and keep him company. Occasionally she would find time to glance at me, her gaze carrying more or less a bit of concern. Most of the time she was speaking to Chad in a low voice. Chad constantly shot daggers at me with his eyes writing "not happy" all over. I guess it was probably Auntie forcing Chloe to come pick me up, and Chad didn't want to but didn't dare to refuse, so he was throwing a tantrum with Chloe over it. The injuries I suffered that day were mostly superficial, plus shock. When I was discharged, the doctor said the physical wounds were fine. I just needed to rest quietly for a few days, mainly to recover my mental energy. The fall off the cliff had scared my mom's soul right out of her body. Every day she held my hand and muttered that surviving a disaster meant I was destined for great fortune. She memorized the doctor's instructions word for word, and firmly executed them once we got home, adding many of her own ideas as well. She took time off work to personally attend to me at home. I couldn't argue with my mom. I had to lie in bed every day, letting my mom feed me like she was raising a pig. Eat and sleep, sleep and eat. I was so bored I was about to grow mold. One afternoon, a call came from my mom's company, saying there was something that required her attention to handle. The old lady tucked her little purse under her arm and rushed out the door like a whirlwind. Before leaving, she gave me a checklist of precautions of no less than 500 words. I agreed to all of them, waiting until my mom's footsteps disappeared down the hallway. I scrambled up in a flash, excitedly ran a few laps around the house. Having laid down for over 10 days, if I didn't move around a bit, I felt like my legs were going to atrophy. Just as I was having fun, Chloe's call came in. I calmed down, frowning, pondering whether to answer or not. After Chloe's indifference to my life and death, my disappointment in her had reached a whole new level. These past few days I had been recovering at home. She had come by a few times to deliver food. It was all stuff Auntie cooked to help me recover. My mom accepted it all, but I rarely ate any of it. Several times she said she wanted to come into my room to see me. My mom pushed her away, using the excuse that I was asleep. Chloe said, "Auntie, I just want to go in and take one look. I won't do anything. We even slept together when we were little. I really treat Lance as my own biological brother." My mom didn't even lift her eyelids. "You said it yourself. That was when you were little. It's fine when you don't know any better. Now that you're grown up, and you have a boyfriend, you should know to avoid suspicion." Because the day I came back, I told my mom that Chad was already unhappy when Chloe went to the hospital to pick me up. If she entered my room to see me and Chad found out, it was highly likely the two of them would have a conflict. I didn't want to be the source that triggered their conflicts. I just wanted to stay far away from them. Ever since that incident happened, although my mom's relationship with Auntie hadn't been affected much, she definitely had some opinions about Chloe herself. Actually, my mom and dad had already looked at houses as elsewhere. It was only because I begged and pleaded that they gave up the idea of moving. I didn't want my mom to have any regrets, but my mom always thought I was doing it because I was still hung up on Chloe. She was unhappy about it for quite a while. Now that I proactively proposed staying away from Chloe, my mom firmly supported it, executing it with extreme decisiveness and efficiency. When facing Chloe, she no longer showed any mercy. Many times I felt, if it wasn't for giving Auntie face, my mom wouldn't. In my mom's words, in front of so many people, You didn't leave even a shred of dignity for my precious son. Why should I spoil you? Do you really think my son can't live without you? My mom was right. I did like her, but she was no longer a necessity. Sooner or later, I would break free from my feelings for her and find a girl who truly treated me well. I lay at home for 5 days. Chloe hadn't even touched the doorknob of my bedroom. I thought she would understand my meaning. Now she was calling me. I hesitated on whether to pick up. Who knew I'd accidentally swipe open the phone lock with my finger? Chloe's voice came through the screen clearly. "Lance, open the door!" Her voice speaking to me was just like before, carrying a bit of arrogance, carrying a bit of bossiness. What for? Because I hated her tone. My tone wasn't very good either. "I came to see you. I'm worried about you. I came a few times, and Auntie wouldn't let me see you, Asu. I've been thinking about you. According to my observation, Auntie just left the house. Hurry up and open the door to let me in. My wounds hurt. I can't get up." Actually, I was right by the door. Through the peephole, I clearly saw a bit of impatience on her face. "Take your time getting up. I'm not in a rush. I'll just wait at the door. Whenever you open it, is whenever I go in." Seeing her so persistent, if I kept it shut and didn't open it, it wouldn't be great either. Thinking about it, I figured I'd just let her in. I slowly walked over and opened the door and instantly regretted it. I thought she was alone. As a result, Chad was hunched over, hiding behind her. Looking at those two hands glued together, my head spun and swelled. I secretly cursed my own hand for being so itchy. Even though my intestines were turning green with regret, since they were already here, I couldn't exactly shut them out again. "You're here. Please come in." I purposely used the word please. Chloe shot me a quick glare. Holding Chad's hand, she turned sideways and squeezed past me. Carelessly plopping down on the sofa, Chad sat closely beside her. The two were like conjoined dolls, no space between them. I couldn't help but complain crazily in my head. "I know you guys are in love, but is it really necessary to show it off to me every second?" But on the surface, I still politely went to the kitchen to cut some fruit for the guests. "Lance, I found out too late that day you fell off the cliff. I didn't make it in time to save you. I'm sorry. It wasn't your responsibility anyway." "Why say sorry? It's fine. I knew the handsome Lance Harper I know is the most magnanimous. You definitely wouldn't be mad at me. My mom forced me to come anyway. She said if I didn't get your forgiveness, she wouldn't want me as a daughter anymore. I was forced with no other choice." I smiled speechlessly. "I really don't blame you. If needed, I can personally go explain it to Auntie Mina." "Lance, your house is really pretty." This was Chad's first time at my house, curiously looking around everywhere. "My mom designed it. She's an interior designer, pretty well known in the industry." I walked out carrying the fruit platter, placed it on the coffee table in front of the sofa, used a small fork to stab a piece and handed it to Chad, then stabbed a piece for myself and popped it in my mouth. Chilled fruit eaten in the middle of summer was truly comfortable to the extreme, especially for a pig like me who had been overfed by my mom. I hadn't eaten something so refreshing in many days. Chloe stared fixedly up at me. I didn't understand what she meant, making it so even the fruit in my mouth wasn't sweet anymore. "What are you looking at? Are you sick?" I asked her, puzzled. "Where's my fruit? Lance, my dear classmate, is this how you treat your younger sister?" I was speechless. "Did you not grow hands? Can't you grab it yourself? Still waiting for me to feed you like before? You even know where our family's bank book is. Why are you pretending to be a guest?" I swear, when I said those words it was completely unintentional. I was just casually chatting with him. Absolutely no other meaning. But Chad's face changed very quickly. He seemed somewhat angry, somewhat unwilling, but mostly jealous. "Lance, is your family very rich? Telling outsiders even where your bank book is. Aren't you afraid of something happening?" I shrugged indifferently. I was just using an analogy to explain how familiar Chloe is with my house. As for our bank book, even I don't know where it is. It's even more impossible for Chloe to know. But the question Chad asked was very intriguing. While he was obsessing over whether my family had money or not, he was also indirectly questioning Chloe's character. I was in awe. This guy truly had bizarre logic. My dad is a middle school teacher. My mom is a designer. The income is okay. Our family's conditions are relatively not considered rich. Just average, I guess. What was the phrase my mom used? Worse than the best, better than the worst. I was telling the truth. Absolutely no exaggeration or embellishment. It's just chatting. You say whatever comes to mind. Chad's face turned. He held Chloe's hand, still keeping up that gentle appearance. "Actually, not having money is quite good too. I've heard that families with better conditions are all unhappy. If it's not siblings fighting over inheritance, it's husband and wife not getting along. Sooner or later they'll get divorced." "Chad, my dear classmate, are you implying my mom and dad will divorce sooner or later?" The moment I heard that, I wasn't happy. Wasn't this blatantly cursing my family? Chloe also felt what he said was inappropriate. She squeezed his hand. "Don't talk nonsense. Uncle and Auntie's relationship is very good." Chad didn't shake off her hand. Instead, he pulled Chloe into his arms, turned his head and looked at me provocatively. "I didn't mean it that way. Chloe, you're overthinking me." Watching the two of them put on a play there, I really wanted to find a broom and sweep them out. "If you want to make out, go home, close the door and kiss your running to my house to pretend to be the big bad wolf?" Chad's words had deep meaning. Even someone as careless as me understood it. There was absolutely no way Chloe couldn't hear it. She was just playing dumb, just to protect Chad. Putting it this way, Chad knew Chloe was present, and that I couldn't do anything to him. So he specifically came to my house to pick a fight. These past 2 years, I indeed didn't speak much, mainly because I was too lazy to open my mouth. But this absolutely didn't prove I was a pushover. In the past, when Chloe bullied me, I had no choice. Who told me to pathetically like her? But who the heck are you, Chad? Who gave you the right to come to my house and act like a big shot? You really think Chloe is your steel armor, making you invulnerable to all poison? Download Shuki novels, search Forget the Chills to read the full episodes. I finally let go. Consider my 20 years of youth fed to the dogs. Then you don't know, my parents' relationship is rock solid, and I'm the only child in our family. Any good things belong solely to me. Even if I wanted to find someone to fight over property with, I couldn't. Isn't it just acting like a green tea bro? Who doesn't know how to do that? Lance, you misunderstood. I didn't mean what you said. It's just that Chloe was worried about you, so I accompanied her to visit you. I really didn't mean anything else. You're overthinking it. Perhaps my words hit right at his sore spot. Chad looked at me aggrievedly, as if I had done something terrible to him. He couldn't stand seeing my family doing well. I didn't care. After all, his family went through a major crisis, but he shouldn't have brought the topic to my parents. How could I allow others to slander the people who gave birth to me and raised me? Chloe looked at me in surprise. She probably thought I was a natural coward, with no temper at all, right? The former me truly was famously good-tempered, especially when facing Chloe. I really was completely obedient. Seeing that Chloe didn't speak up for him, Chad acted incredibly humiliated. Lance, don't be like this. I really didn't mean anything else. I just wanted to come see you. If you look down on me, I'll leave right now. I was truly disgusted by Chad's hypocritical appearance. Chloe, thank you guys for coming to see me. You can go back now. I'm tired and want to rest for a bit. I coldly issued the eviction order. Chloe's face sank. Dark waves surged in the depths of her eyes. She stared at me, seemingly very angry that I was driving her away. Lance, we came to see you out of the goodness of our hearts. What are you doing? If you really look down on Chad, at worst, we'll just stay further away from you from now. The second half was directed at me. I was instantly exasperated. Her performance right now actually gave me a new understanding of her. From the moment they came in until now, Chad had been secretly and deliberately taking digs at me. He was the one who provoked me first, okay? She was so smart. I don't believe she couldn't see it. I merely fired back a few sentences. And in her eyes, it turned into bullying Chad? Then what about the things he said? Did my parents deserve to be mocked by him? Are you deaf? Couldn't you hear how he talked about my mom and dad? I have no problem with you being biased, but there has to be a limit, right? I don't care what you guys say about me. I don't mind, but talking about my parents is unacceptable. I don't want to argue. Hurry up and get out. If there's nothing important, don't come back. Chloe paused, her eyes filled with disbelief. Chloe, I really didn't mean what he said. He misunderstood me. You have to believe me. Believe my foot. I looked speechlessly at the farce playing out in front of me. I truly hated my own itchy hand for opening the door. Lance, the way Chad talked about uncle and auntie was indeed thoughtless of him, but he has always been careless with his words, never meaning any harm. Why do you have to be so unforgiving over every little detail? Putting the facts aside, are you completely faultless? You knew his family went through such a huge ordeal, with his parents separated. Yet you bragged right in front of him about how great your life is. Aren't you just poking his wounds? Lance, how did you turn into this kind of person? This evaluation fell just short of calling me malicious. I was so angry I laughed. Is this still the Chloe I've known for 19 years? Truly a green tea bro and a dog, a perfect match to last eternity. Chloe, I'm too lazy to waste words with you guys. I'm tired. Please you two, get the heck out of my house, thank you. Chloe yanked Chad's hand and left in a huff. Before stepping out the door, Chad turned back and glanced at me. The smugness in his eyes was so obvious. I found it hilarious just looking at it. Being favored so he could be utterly fearless and unbridled. 2 days later, Jake and Ben came looking for me. My mom, quite unwillingly, let me go out for some fresh air. The moment my front foot stepped out the door, my mom followed right behind. You can't do this. You can't do that. Listing a long string of taboos, I dragged the two of them and rushed down the stairs without looking back, running toward the beautiful blue sky and white clouds, leaving behind my mom's helpless, laughing scolding. Saturday afternoon, Chloe suddenly came knocking on my door. I didn't want to see her. The incident from last time was still fresh in my memory, but my mom was quick-handed and unbolted the door. Asked her what she needed. Chloe craned her neck and peeked inside. I was lounging on the sofa watching a TV variety show, laughing so hard. Looking at me, she seemed to frown, but quickly relaxed. Smiling, she said she wanted to invite me out for hot pot. My mom hesitated for a moment, but still let her in, leaving us to chat amongst ourselves. There's a newly opened Chongqing hot pot place on Zhongxing Street, spicy and fresh. The taste is super good. Change your clothes, I'll treat you. I was lazy and didn't want to move, shaking my head like a rattle drum. Not going. If she had proactively invited me out in the past with my simp-like traits back then, I would have been thrilled to death. But after those things happened, I just wanted to stay far away from her. Plus, over the past year or so, whenever I was with her, something would definitely go wrong. Bad luck leading the way, she was practically my jinx. My injuries from the cliff fall had just fully healed. I definitely didn't want to end up in the hospital again. No matter how Chloe tried to persuade me, I shook my head like a rattle drum, firmly refusing to cooperate. Let's go, Lance. Do me a favor. Consider it my apology for what happened last time. What's there to apologize for? I kept my eyes glued to the TV without lifting my head. Chad was indeed in the wrong first that day. He has thin skin. I'm apologizing on his behalf. Empty words mean nothing. Hot pot is proof. My apology is sincere. She truly had changed a lot since getting together with Chad. The old her spoke so little she was like a half-mute. She never used to say playful things like this. That thing, huh? I forgot about it. No need to apologize. I can't accept it, Lance, my dear classmate. We grew up together. I know you better than you know yourself. You can't hide whether you're telling the truth or a lie from me. You're just blaming me, refusing to forgive me. Don't blame me for being biased toward him. I can't bear to let him be sad. But right is right, wrong is wrong. So if you've truly forgiven me, then come eat hot pot with me. I still shook my head, indicating my refusal. Chloe started lecturing me on the grand philosophies of life, chanting like a monk, giving me a headache. Left with no choice, I had to change my clothes and go with her. It's just one meal of hot pot. Could she eat me alive? Right before heading out, my mom stuffed an umbrella into my hand, unhappily reminding me to go early and come back early. The weather was a bit overcast, looking like it might rain. Your body just recovered. Don't get rained on and catch a cold again. Chloe repeatedly promised she would take good care of me. Only then did she earn a smile from my mom. The two of us walked shoulder to shoulder on the sidewalk, casually chatting about random, pointless things. The path was very narrow. There were also kids running around playing, so the two of us seemed a bit squeezed together. I intentionally fell a step behind to stagger our positions. She turned her head and gave me a displeased look. I nonchalantly averted my eyes, calmly maintaining my previous pace, falling exactly one step behind her. The hot pot restaurant had a fiery name called Boiling Point. Chloe chose a booth by the window. The view there was expansive. You could look through the glass and admire the various walks of life outside. Not long after we sat down, it started to rain outside. I was very grateful for my mom's foresight. Otherwise, I would definitely be drenched to the bone. Chloe ordered a split pot and plenty of side dishes, dropping them into the pot one by one. Once cooked, she scooped them out and put them on my small plate. I reached out my arm to block her, my face a bit flushed. You eat, I'll do it myself. She looked at her own chopsticks and understood, revealing a trace of a smile. What? Disgusted that I'm not using serving chopsticks. When we were little, we even stole milk powder using the same spoon, taking turns eating more than half the bag. I didn't see you feeling embarrassed back then. Knowing one's mistakes and correcting them is the greatest good. Lance, could you stop speaking in such a passive-aggressive tone? Many times I wonder, so cold and distant, are you still the Lance I know? How did you change so much? Hurry and eat. It won't taste good if it overcooks. I picked up a piece of greens and put it in my mouth. The taste was indeed pretty good. She flashed a brilliant smile and pulled back her chopsticks, stuffed the vegetables into her mouth, burying her head and eating intensely. I didn't have much of an appetite, symbolically ate a few bites of greens and put down my chopsticks, waiting for her to finish so we could go back together. When she was about done eating, she stopped, glanced at me, pulled out a napkin and reached over to wipe the oil stain on the corner of my mouth. Since Mid-Autumn Festival that year, she and I had never been this intimate again. Her action was too sudden. I reacted extremely fast, pulling my body back to dodge. Her hand paused. She smiled and pulled it back. The hot pot was finished. Whatever you want to say it. She frowned. Don't know what she thought of. The dark light in her eyes was very complex. Lance, what happened last time was Chad's fault. I apologize to you on his behalf. He's suffered a heavy blow because of his father's situation. He's extremely sensitive and self-deprecating. We grew up together. Our bond is deep. In the future, we'll become family. She paused her sentence. I looked at her, very curious about what she was going to say. Want what? Could you please, for my sake, be a bit more careful with your words? Give him some leeway. Don't provoke him anymore. I laughed, saying this was a meal to express her apologies, and I actually believed it. Sure enough, I was still too stupid. How was this treating me to a meal? This was clearly using the hot pot as an opportunity to negotiate with me, wanting me not to make her sweetheart unhappy. I could do all the things she mentioned. I gave a cold snort. That's your boyfriend, not mine. I have no obligation to help you spoil him. You were there the whole time that day. It was clearly him intentionally provoking me. Why couldn't I fight back? When he provokes others, it's because he's sensitive and self-deprecating. When I defend my family, I deserve to be dragged here under the guise of an apology, just to listen to you lecture me? Chloe, are you blind? Chloe's face rapidly changed. She stared at me dumbfounded, her eyes full of disbelief, as if she didn't expect my reaction to be so intense. After all, from childhood to adulthood, I basically obeyed her every word. Arguing with her like this, with reason on my side, was a first. She looked at me silently for a good while, did not speak again. I ignored her. Feeling this meal was truly meaningless, I picked up my umbrella and prepared to leave. She was quick and grabbed my sleeve, not letting me leave. Lance, I'm sorry, don't rush to leave. It's been so long since we've been able to talk like we used to. Sit down and chat for a bit, okay? Mentioning the past, my heart always softened. Seeing my expression loosen up a bit, Chloe's eyes flashed with joy. She let go of my wrist, curled her lips and smiled. We didn't talk about anything special afterward. It was mostly her talking and me listening. She told me about college life, talked about the sweetness of being with Chad, talked about her plans for their future, talked about her visions for their life ahead. She said a lot. Talked about a lot of people. The only person missing was me. Overall, this meal wasn't a happy one. When we headed back, it was raining even harder. Thick black clouds pressed down low. I remembered the rainstorm warning I saw at noon, suddenly regretted coming out. Sure enough, whenever I was with her, nothing good happened. The two of us only had one umbrella, and it was a tiny, delicate umbrella meant for ladies. Although the umbrella was a bit small, having it was better than nothing. If we run fast, we probably won't get too wet. Chloe stood at the entrance of the hot pot place and spoke. Is there a possibility I hold the umbrella by myself, and you run back fast? She snatched my umbrella, popped it open, and dragged me plunging headfirst into the curtain of rain. No, the rain was just too heavy, and the umbrella was just too small. The two of us squeezed tightly together. The wind and rain still mercilessly battered our bodies. Half of our clothes and pants were quickly soaked. The rain hitting the umbrella surface was deafening. My breath was full of her unique scent. My heart pathetically started beating wildly. I hurriedly chanted the clear heart mantra a few times in my head, pulled myself toward the outer edge. She held the umbrella and squeezed toward me again, keeping me. Don't move around. We'll be home soon. We hadn't walked far when we suddenly heard someone shouting Chloe's name. Amidst the massive noise brought by the torrential wind and rain, it wasn't very clear, but it truly existed. The aura around Chloe instantly changed. She shoved the umbrella into my hand, widened her eyes and searched around. Lance, I heard Chad's voice. I didn't mishear it, right? No, it really is him. I spoke faintly. Long time no see. Chad, who was supposedly returning to his hometown with his mom, was standing under a small newsstand on the side of the road, holding a large umbrella. Chloe saw him. Starlight immediately gathered in the depths of her dark eyes. Jumping and bounding like a child, she rushed into the heavy rain. Her pure white shoes stepped into the filthy puddles, splashing water all the way. Chad, you're back! She ran over in ecstatic joy. Chad pulled her into his arms and held her tight. Chloe was laughing. I stood blankly in the heavy rain, not even noticing the umbrella was tilted. At this moment, my heart was wetter than this sky full of pouring rain. Chad shielded Chloe, running happily through the heavy rain, leaving me right where I was. Chad turned his head and shouted loudly at me. Lance! We're heading out first. Be careful! I suppose that counted as a word of concern, right? The wind and rain grew stronger. The dark clouds were so low it felt like they were about to press right onto my head. A thick layer of water accumulated on the ground. Thunder occasionally exploded in the sky above, blowing my heart to smithereens. The massive rainstorm caused severe short-term flooding. It had already submerged the curb. Besides the murky gray water, you couldn't see where the road was at all, and couldn't predict what was underfoot. I waded through the water carefully, testing my steps. The wind was too strong. It flipped my little umbrella inside. I dragged the broken umbrella. It was clearly only a 20-minute walk, but I struggled to take a single step. Taking one step forward would result in being battered back 2 steps by the wind and rain. The umbrella became a burden. I threw it away. The wind and rain battered me so hard I couldn't open my eyes at all. Relying solely on feeling, I walked blindly toward home. I kept comforting myself that I'd be home soon. Just hold on a little longer. Mom would be waiting for me, and Dad too, and the warm orange lamplight filling the room. By the time I realized something was wrong and tried to pull my foot back, it was already too late. It felt as if a giant hand in the whirlpool was dragging me down. The world spun around me. I fell hard onto my butt, surrounded by filthy water. The rain above poured down on me like a waterfall. I suddenly remembered. Mom said this morning there was an abandoned utility manhole on this street missing its cover. Very dangerous. Thinking about the location my mom mentioned, I was certain I had unluckily fallen into that utility manhole. In less than half a month, I was once again facing a life-or-death crisis. Last time, I still had Jake and my bros by my side. This time, it was only me. The water level rose rapidly. I had to endure the pain and lean against the manhole wall to stand up. My right leg was so numb it didn't feel like my own. The outside of my left arm was somehow sliced open with a long gash. Dark red blood continuously gushed out. I clung to the wall, blankly watching the continuously rising water level. I regretted it, Lance. Have you never eaten hot pot before? Was it worth getting yourself in such a pathetic state just for a meal of hot pot? In the end, I barely ate a few bites of hot pot, and now I'm going to lose my life in this damn manhole. I was unwilling to accept this. Is anyone there? Help me! I tore my throat, screaming desperately, hoping some late-night traveler braving the wind and rain would hear my voice and pull me up. The hope was very slim, but I didn't want to give up. On the street, besides the howling wind, rain, and thunder, there was nothing else. Despair and fear surrounded me. I started trying to save myself. Attempted a few times, wanting to climb up using my own strength. Unfortunately, my injured right leg hurt too much to exert any force. When the water level in the manhole surpassed my chest line, an elderly scavenger discovered me. From the sleeve of his tattered raincoat hung a flashlight with a dim beam. Leaning over the edge of the manhole, he looked at me over and over again. "Grandpa, save me! I'm injured!" I tilted my head back and begged for help. Filthy rainwater poured into my mouth, both fishy and bitter. "Don't be afraid, I'll go get something. I'll be right back to save you." The old man left. The world returned to its original indifference. I believed in the old man's kindness. He would definitely come back. The old man quickly returned. He dropped down a long roll of thick rope. "Young man, tie it tight around your waist. I'll pull you up." After finally managing to tie the rope around my waist, the old man started pulling me with all his might. Veins popped out on his bony hands. I also used my fingers to grip the brick crevices of the manhole wall as much as possible, wanting to reduce my body weight. The old man and I tried several times, but we couldn't successfully get me out. Falling back into the manhole time and time again, the wounds on my body continuously increased. I was exhausted. One last time, I summoned every ounce of strength in my body. Following the old man's pull, I climbed up the manhole wall in one vigorous burst, looking at the familiar street, the raging curtain of rain, and the kind, worried look the old man gave me. Stars exploded in front of my eyes. I forced myself to say thank you, and then sank into darkness. I had many strange dreams. I seemed to return to the past. The dreams from before were fragmented. Even in my dreams, Chloe could hurt me to the point of wanting to cry bitterly. Oh right, I saw Maya. She hadn't been back for almost 2 years, right? So long that I almost forgot her existence. 2 years unseen, we only greeted each other during holidays. Maya rarely posted WeChat moments. I had absolutely no other channels to know about her. I didn't know what Maya looked like now. Was she still the Maya in my memory who would give me lollipops and cake when I was sad? The Maya who gave me lollipops. She was the only warmth in my dreams. I walked straight ahead along a bright little path. A thick fog suddenly appeared in front of me. "Lance, come back quickly." I heard my mom's voice. She was calling me to come home. I abruptly opened my eyes. The morning sunlight pierced directly into my eyes. I hurriedly raised my hand to block it. A warm and dry large hand pressed me down extremely fast. The voice held frantic joy. "Don't move! Careful of the blood flowing back! Wife! Our son is awake!" I regained my senses. My nose was filled with the smell of disinfectant. In the transparent tube hanging above my head, medicine was dripping down rapidly. I didn't die, I remembered. It was that kind old grandpa who saved me. I had survived another catastrophe. "Baby, how is it? Does anywhere feel uncomfortable?" My mom's haggard yet loving face appeared in my line of sight. "Mom," I softly called out, raising my hand to touch my mom's face. My mom grabbed my hand and pressed it against her face. Tears of pleasant surprise once again burst from her eyes. "My good baby, it's good that you're okay." My mom's voice gradually lowered, finally turning into a sob full of heartache. "Mom thought I would never hear your voice again. You can still call me Mom, that's wonderful." "Mom, don't cry, I'm fine." I comforted my mom, turned my head to look for my dad. "Lance, Dad is right here. Don't be afraid, Dad is here." My dad was on the other side of the hospital bed. I looked at my dad's face. My heart ached so much I wanted to shed tears. Was this still my refined and handsome dad? His hair was messy, his face was puffy, stubble covered the lower half of his face. Only those eyes carried the light of paternal love I was so familiar with. Mom said when they saw me, my whole body was as cold as ice, motionless. Even my breathing was barely there. She was scared out of her mind. Dad said, "We thought we'd never see you open your eyes again." We almost cried, all our tears dry. I looked at my parents guarding me, looked at their haggard faces. I knew I had truly terrified them this time. "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. This time it was my fault. It won't happen again." I asked my mom where that old grandpa who saved my life was. Could we still find him? The moment I was pulled up that day, I passed out. It was the old grandpa. He dragged his feet to a shop ahead to borrow a phone and call for an ambulance, and then waited with me in the wind and rain for the ambulance to arrive. Sent me to the hospital and used the only few crumpled bills on him to pay for my emergency medicine. "It's all thanks to the old man. Otherwise my son." Before my mom could finish her sentence, she was about to cry again. Dad patted Mom's shoulder to comfort her, constantly saying, "Our son is watching. Don't make our son sad with you. Mom, when I get better, I want to personally go thank the old grandpa. If it wasn't for the old grandpa, I might already be dead. He's the one who saved my life. When you're better, we'll go thank the old man together." "Dad, how did you guys know I was in the hospital?" Thinking about what happened that day, both Mom and Dad's faces darkened simultaneously. My usually cheerful mom tightened her jaw, suppressed, undeniable anger lurking in the depths of her eyes. That night, when Mom saw it was almost 9 o'clock, and I still hadn't returned, she called my phone only to find it on the sofa in the living room. Chloe's phone was turned off. Mom said the wind and rain were too heavy. She was worried sick, so she had to knock on Auntie's door to ask about the situation. Upon seeing this, Mom immediately panicked. Chad had one arm around her, feeding her fruit with the other. When Mom asked her where I was, she actually looked completely bewildered. "Lance hasn't come back yet?" We parted ways on the street. After Mom and Dad asked clearly where we parted ways, they rushed out without even an umbrella to find me. Later, a pet shop owner said an ambulance had come by not long ago. Seemed like someone fell into the utility manhole, just didn't know if it was the person they were looking for. When Mom and Dad rushed to the hospital, I was already lying on an emergency room bed receiving an IV drip, with that kind old grandpa by my side. Listening to my parents' account, I smiled faintly. Just as I was about to say something, Sumio knocked on the ward door. Unsurprisingly, Uncle and Auntie Weaver arrived carrying bags of stuff, followed by an uneasy Chloe. Chad did not come. When? Is Lance awake? This whole thing is Chloe's fault. I brought her here. Whatever Lance decides to do with her, beat her, scold her, I have no objections. If he hits her too lightly, I won't even accept it. Seeing I was awake, Auntie affectionately touched my face, her eyes full of guilt and self-blame. Auntie put the things on the windowsill, pulling them out one by one. Mom walked over and stopped Auntie's actions, putting the things she had pulled out back in one by one. No need, we don't lack anything here. Sorry for making you run this errand. We can take care of Lance. You guys should head back. Auntie noticed my mom's coldness. Her eyes turned red with sadness. When don't be like this! She put down the things in her hands, dragged Chloe right in front of me. Hurry up and apologize to Lance! Chloe's face didn't look too good. Her gaze dodged mine, being dragged by Auntie to the point of stumble. I'm sorry, I didn't know. No need. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm not dead. You should go back. If I hadn't met that kind old grandpa, I would currently be a cold corpse. Is that something your one sorry could reverse? Chloe seemed to sense my coldness. Traces of hurt floated up in her guilt-filled eyes. Lance, you never used to treat me like this. I turned my head and closed my eyes, refusing to look at anyone anymore. The ward was dead silent, only the sound of a few people breathing. Old Lan making Lance suffer such a severe injury this time, and almost losing his life. The fault lies entirely with Chloe. We came to apologize sincerely. My consistently refined and gentle dad unpolitely interrupted Uncle Weaver. His voice was a bit cold, carrying a rare anger. Old way. Lance says he doesn't blame Chloe, so you shouldn't take it to heart either. Lance got lucky and didn't die in that manhole. We're content. The doctor just said Lance needs to rest quietly. I won't see you out. Exactly. Our son, we will take care of him ourselves. We can't accept Chloe's apology. From now on, we won't try to stick close to you guys anymore either. Lance is going to sleep. You guys head back. No need to come again. My mom had never been this cold to Auntie. She did it all for me. Lance. Auntie stood at the foot of my bed, calling my name softly. I opened my eyes, looked at her with a smile. Auntie, I'm fine. Really? Uncle Weaver knew my parents were still fuming. Saying more was useless. Shot a glare at Chloe, took the lead, turned, and left. Auntie reminded me to recover well. She said she would come see me again. She was rejected by both me and my mom. Chloe was the last to leave. She stood by the door, turning her head to look at me for a good while, seeming like she had a lot to say. I pretended not to see. Asked my mom to peel a peach for me. The intersection of mine and Chloe's lives, the moment I fell into that utility manhole, came to a complete and total halt. While drinking porridge, I brought up the topic of moving again. Dad said they had already found a place. The deposit was fully paid. It was a new residential complex, a bit further from here, in the city center. It's just that the building had just started construction. It wouldn't be finished until this time next year. I felt a bit of regret. According to my idea, leaving this place immediately would be best. I stayed in the hospital for a full 10 days. The scabs on my body had basically healed. Returning home, lying on my big bed, without the IV drip bottle hanging over my head, without the pungent smell of disinfectant, without the doctors and nurses flipping me over like a pancake every morning and night for routine checks. Every pore on my body felt comfortable to the extreme. Around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Auntie came to see me, first dropping off 2 large bags of fruit and snacks, then going back and bringing over 2 large plates of freshly boiled vegetarian dumplings. At that time, I had just woken up from a nap. My mom didn't know, so she told Auntie I was still sleeping. Auntie said it was nothing, but I could hear the regret in her voice. She probably wanted to see me personally. Mom and Auntie sat in the living room talking. The door to my room wasn't tightly shut. I could clearly hear their conversation. Auntie first brought up Chloe's matter, continuously apologizing to my mom. Mom said several times she didn't blame her. It had nothing to do with her. Her tone was bland. Then she mentioned that our family had already found an apartment. It would be built around this time next year. When the time comes, we will move. Auntie was silent for a long time. Then she cried, when? Whether you believe it or not, I truly feel heartache for Lance, making Lance suffer so much, almost losing his life. After Auntie finished speaking, she wept silently again. My mom is soft-hearted. Her relationship with Auntie spanned decades and was very deep. Hearing Auntie speak so sincerely, her emotions softened quite a bit, telling her not to overthink it. Everything will pass. The disaster-filled summer vacation finally ended. Under my mom's worried reminders and my dad's reluctant gaze, I once again embarked on my journey. For some unknown reason, Chloe insisted on leaving on the same day as me. I didn't care about this. Leaving together means leaving together. It's just that short trip from home to the airport anyway. Upon arriving at the airport and getting out of the car, Maya's video call came in. I did walk to the side to answer. Speaking of Maya, she truly lived up to the word stunningly brilliant. She just had one habit I didn't understand. When she needed me for something, she rarely made regular phone calls. It always had to be a video call. I once asked her why. She said video calls were louder, making them harder to miss. Turns out the graduate school was co-hosting a competition with several prestigious universities. The judges were all renowned masters of Chinese painting. Each school could form a team to participate. She asked me if I wanted to join. If I wanted to participate, she could team up with me. Besides painting, Maya and I didn't communicate that much. But her achievements in Chinese painting were very significant. Her soft and elegant painting style perfectly complemented mine. I learned a lot from her. To me, she was both a teacher and a friend. Chinese painting is what I love. Being able to team up with her for a competition was exactly what I desperately wished for. Before hanging up, Maya said she was already back at school and would come pick me up at the airport. This time I wouldn't have to lug such heavy luggage back to school alone. I was a bit happy. Ending the call, I saw Chloe guarding a pile of suitcases, standing by the curb not far away waiting for me. While Chad had his arm around her shoulder, a gentle smile hanging on his face. "Who were you video chatting with?" she asked me with a cold face. I was stunned. "None of your freaking business." "Someone you don't know." Chloe looked somewhat displeased. "Do you even have to ask?" "Being able to chat for so long and so happily, it's definitely a girlfriend." Chad suddenly spoke up. "But Lance, this girlfriend of yours is way too unqualified, right? For an entire summer vacation. You were injured so severely, why didn't she even come see you once? Look at Chloe, keeping me company whenever she has time. Now that's a girlfriend." Sure enough, if he doesn't open his mouth, fine. The moment he opens his mouth, it's just pure garbage. Truly disgusting. I was too lazy to acknowledge him. Pretending I didn't hear him, I went to grab my luggage. The plane landed in the evening. I turned on my phone. Ding ding, several messages came in, all from Chloe. "Did you land? Lance, you have a lot of luggage. Is anyone picking you up? Lance, stay further away from other girls. You're so naive. I'm afraid you'll get hurt." This indecisive version of Chloe was quite annoying. I deleted the messages one by one, replied with 4 words. "Arrived. Don't worry." The other end replied almost instantly. Sent several very long. I deleted them directly without even listening. Put the phone back in my backpack. Maya was waiting for me in front of a black SUV, smiling like a flower, slim and graceful. Seeing me come out, her eyes lit up. She jogged over and ruffled my hair. "Long time no see. Lance, you grew taller, huh?" I shrank my neck in embarrassment, tilted my head and looked up at her. Maya had become even prettier. Being praised by Lance was still an honor. "Why are you so skinny? Have you not been eating properly?" Maya turned her face and asked me. For a moment I couldn't find the right words to answer her. An entire summer vacation, injured twice, hospitalized twice, plus being in a low mood. My appetite was poor too. I really did lose quite a bit of weight. "Maya, 2 years unseen and you still remember what I used to look like." "I'm losing weight recently." I smiled and rubbed my cheeks. Maya gave me a side eye. "You lost so much weight, all the color is gone from your eyes. I don't care if you're losing weight or whatever. Starting today, I am going to feed you back to your original state. Prepare yourself mentally." A dorm room unvisited for a whole vacation was covered in a layer of dust. My roommates wouldn't arrive until tomorrow. I rolled up my sleeves and cleaned the place up. By the time I settled everything, it was already approaching 7 p.m. I was so tired my back ached and legs throbbed. Just as I was about to lie down on the bed to rest for a bit, Maya sent me 2 documents, then followed up with a video call. She said the documents were her conceptual outlines for the competition. A bit rushed, just a rough framework. The details still needed polishing. She wanted me to see if I had any new ideas, to fuse them in. The 2 of us joining forces to strive for first place in one fell swoop. "Can I look at them later? I just finished cleaning the dorm and I'm super tired. Want to rest for a bit." I was truly a bit tired. Even speaking sounded breathless. She raised an eyebrow. "The feeding plan starts with this meal. I'll come downstairs to get you. Rest after we eat." To be honest, I was too tired. I really didn't want to move, but my stomach was also really hungry. I couldn't exactly wage war against my stomach, right? Thinking about it, I agreed. "Oh, right. Do you mind if my friends tag along?" "Don't mind. More people is better. Saves the 2 of us from having nothing to say and staring at each other awkwardly." She wanted to come pick me up. I refused. Told her to send me the location when she arrived. I would go over myself. At 7:45, I arrived at the agreed location. It was another hot pot restaurant. Once bitten by a snake, 10 years fearing a well rope. Nowadays, whenever I see, just entered the door. From a window seat deep in the hall, a tall girl stood up. She said something to the people at her table and started walking toward me. Maya was truly very tall. I never noticed before. I was just settling them in and about to go greet you. Maya smiled at me and said, "Maya, did you grow taller again?" "So tall." I regretted it the moment I said it. All the blood rushed to my face, instantly sweating from embarrassment. Maya was already in her 20s. How could she possibly grow taller? What a brain-dead thing to say. Maya definitely didn't expect Meadow hit her with such a nonsensical line. Today I finally realized I was a certified simp for good looks. She was finally amused by my silly appearance and laughed out loud. "Maya, Hurry, and bring the handsome little brother over. The hot pot is boiling. She led me over, and generously introduced those people to me. Northern U has such a handsome underclassman. How did I not know? Maya is so stingy. Didn't introduce us early, sir. Handsome little brother. Mind if I ask, do you have any brothers at home? Not biological ones. Cousins are fine too. Maya, I don't want to be your sister anymore. Can I be your sister-in-law instead? Facing these good-natured teasing remarks, I was so nervous my palms were sweating, although I have a relatively outgoing personality and never turn away friendly people. But this was our first meeting after all, and it was a group of girls. I was truly very uncomfortable. Growing up, the closest women to me, aside from my mom, were Chloe. Of course, it wasn't like there weren't other girls. In high school, my backpack used to get stuffed with love letters too. It's just that back then, my heart and eyes were entirely on Chloe. No matter how good others were, I never paid attention to them. Naturally, I couldn't appreciate their different charms. Download Shuki novels, search Forget the Chills to read the full episodes. I finally let go. Consider my 20 years of youth fed to the dogs. I missed out on a lot of scenery just for Chloe. Stop talking nonsense. If you scare him away, you're responsible for getting him back. As she said this, Maya had her head down peeling shrimp shells for me. After peeling one, she placed it on my small plate. Seeing me eat them one by one, Maya would reveal a gentle smile. Maya always protected me so gently. Since I was little, she had been like this, always paying attention to my emotions. Whenever a situation arose that might put me in a difficult spot, she would always speak up to stop it in time. She knew what I liked and what I disliked. When she picked up food for me, it was always the stuff I super liked, but was too embarrassed to devour wildly like I did at home. As for her friends, jokes aside, they took really good care of me. Laughter never ceased throughout the meal. The relaxed atmosphere excellently dispelled my nervousness. As long as I was with Maya, I was always very relaxed and comfortable. In short, I thoroughly enjoyed this meal. When we headed back, it was raining outside. September in the north. The weather had already turned chilly. You needed to wear a long-sleeved jacket morning and night. When I came out, because I had just finished physical labor, I was sweating all over, so I came out wearing a short t-shirt. It was already 9:30 p.m. after eating, and it was raining. The outdoor temperature dropped extremely low. Just stepping out of the restaurant doors, the autumn chill hit my face. I subconsciously hugged my arms and shivered. Cold? Maya turned her head and asked me. I rubbed the goosebumps on my aggressively trembling arms, and honestly nodded. Soon, a jacket carrying body heat draped over my shoulders. A faint perfume scent lingered around my nose. Wearing Maya's jacket felt just like being hugged in Maya's arms. My face suddenly flushed red, burning hot. I really wanted to return the jacket. This felt a bit too intimate. Maya already saw through my thoughts, gently pressing down on my shoulders. Just wear it. It's not your first time anyway. Catching a cold will delay the competition. Now that was a heavy hat to wear. I was helplessly and successfully threatened by her. Maya said we were fighting in a team competition. Actually, the so-called team was only me and her. The others were just enthusiastic external helpers. They wouldn't appear on the competition roster, nor would they participate in the creation. The level of the competition, for students like us still in school, was considered very high. The participants were all the cream of the crop. Standing out in the competition would be very difficult. I settled my heart to treat it seriously. Maya said we must break out of the conventional routines of Chinese painting and take an innovative route. Otherwise, there was no hope of winning. I deeply agreed and began to deeply ponder how to use Chinese painting Techniquesto express something full of novelty. The competition was at the end of October. Still almost 2 months away, time was considered ample. I still had time to figure it out. Maya and each held our own opinions on what to paint. From this point of view, both she and I belonged to the relatively stubborn type of people. Neither could convince the other. Later, we decided we would each paint a small mock-up first and make the final decision after a comprehensive evaluation. This idea was relatively fair, I agreed. After that, besides going to classes, I immersed myself in creation. Under the guise of convenient communication, Maya saved a dedicated spot for me in the grad school's studio. I could go over any time. Because of Maya's existence, I became the first freshman at Northern U who could freely enter and exit the grad school, at the same time making a large batch of guys who admired Maya extremely jealous. Life was monotonous but not dull. The unpleasant mood brought by the summer vacation gradually subsided. Maya truly treated feeding me as an everyday essential task. When the time came, no matter where I was or what I was doing, she would rush over with lightning speed, and then take me to eat. Often, Maya's friends would be there too. Over time, we actually became quite familiar faces. Because of my connection to Maya, they all called me Little Brother Lance. When Maya was sometimes too busy to take care of me, a very single one of them would take very good care of me. With Maya around, I was like a little kid, happily enjoying her meticulous care. But it seemed God couldn't stand seeing me live comfortably. The day before the mock-up was finished, I actually received a video call from Chloe. I had just finished showering at the time and was sitting at my desk, drying my hair. Her call came in. Seeing that flashing profile picture, I had mixed feelings for a moment. This was the first video call she made to me since I started college. I didn't know what she wanted from me. I had half a mind not to answer. It hung up once, but she called right back. I reluctantly swiped the answer button. Her face appeared clearly before my eyes. "Lance, what are you up to?" She was smiling very happily. Her eyes were brimming with smiles. "Just showered, drying my hair. Need something? Can't I call you if I don't need something?" The corners of her lips tilted high up. Her eyes swirled with gentle affection. Unfortunately, it had nothing to do with me. I let out a hee chuckle. Didn't follow up on her words. This kind of borderline flirting banter wasn't suitable for her and me. Even when I was most obsessed with her, I had never joked with her this intimately. It was even more impossible now. "I have a favor to ask you," she spoke up again. "What favor?" My eyebrow twitched. A bad premonition arose. In my entire life, this was the first time she ever said the word beg or ask a favor to me. I wasn't happy. In my heart, since it was destined in this life that we had no fate together, then we should be like two parallel lines that never intersect, never having anything to do with each other, never crossing paths. Chad's department is organizing an exchange with Northern U. He's heading your way the day after tomorrow. He's never traveled far before, and his personality is introverted. I'm afraid he won't be able to handle things on his own. So Chad is coming to my turf, and you want me to babysit him. Is he missing hands or feet? Does his brain have an illness, or is he just lacking a few screws? Honestly, I didn't want to agree. Chad looked like a weak scholar on the outside. I always felt his belly was full of schemes, skilled at calculating and digging pits. I was worried about when I might accidentally get thrown into a pit by him. Secondly, I was busy with the competition, tired as a dog every day. If it wasn't for Maya, I probably wouldn't even be able to eat properly. "Please, Lance, I'm begging you." She wore an expectant smile, chasing me with the question again. "Hello, Lance. I'm very well behaved. I absolutely won't cause you trouble." Chad truly couldn't stand being lonely, always finding a sense of presence in front of me. I looked at that brightly smiling face in the camera. The smugness in his eyes was simply too obvious. My head hurt so much. Why not ask Maya? Maya would definitely take way better care of him than I could. Chloe coughed uncomfortably. "She's so busy, how would she have time to take care of him?" I curled my lip, not believing her excuse for a second. Uncle and Auntie Weaver disagreed with her and Chad being together. Concerning a major life event like her younger sister's lifelong happiness, Maya couldn't possibly not know. Chloe was afraid Maya would be like Uncle and Auntie and not like Chad. That's why she came begging me. "How long is the exchange?" I asked Chloe. "At most a month." Hearing me ask this, Chloe's eyes instantly lit up. "Let's be clear up front. I have a lot of things going on lately. I can only do my best. Tell him if he needs something, find me. If he doesn't need anything, don't keep bothering me. That's enough. Thank you, Lance." Seeing I finally agreed, Chloe happily flashed her white teeth. The next morning, Maya took me to eat soup dumplings. They had my favorite chive and egg filling and cornmeal porridge, but thinking about Chad coming over, my heart was annoyed beyond belief. Even my appetite was slightly affected. I only ate 2 bamboo steamers and couldn't eat anymore. Maya sat across from me, gently asking me what was wrong, only eating so little. "Chad is coming. I hate him. Who is Chad? If it comes, it comes. What does it have to do with you?" Maya was completely bewildered, unable to understand my depression. I was also shocked. Did Maya actually not know about Chloe and Chad? Then did she also not know about the messy history between me and Chloe? No wonder since we met, Maya never brought it up once, and never tried to comfort my little injured heart. "He is your younger sister's boyfriend. In the future he'll be family with you. Don't tell me you don't know." I curled my lip, not believing her at all. Maya put down her chopsticks, staring at my eyes in disbelief, seemingly confirming the truthfulness of my words. Perhaps in Maya's eyes what I was saying sounded like a fantasy tale. Impossible to happen. It hurt so much. I really didn't want to talk about it, because talking about it meant recalling it, and I never wanted to recall that Mid-Autumn festival again. Maya just smiled gently. "Sure, as long as you're happy. Let's go. Class is about to start. But Lance, you have to remember, no matter what happens, I will always be here with you." I was truly moved. She could always sensitively capture my emotional fluctuations. "Maya, why are you so good to me?" Hearing this, Maya paused her actions. Unidentifiable emotions surged in the depths of her eyes, but were quickly suppressed, turning back into that gentle, reliable Maya. "Our Lance is so smart and handsome. Of course you deserve to be treated well." That morning, Maya escorted me all the way to the classroom door, watching me find a seat and sit down. Only then did she turn and leave. Seeing me personally escorted to the classroom by the goddess, everyone looked up to. Several familiar guys crowded over, asking what my relationship with the goddess was. When they found out I was the goddess's younger brother, every single one of them acted like they saw their own brother-in-law, even asking me if they were the type the goddess liked. If they took the initiative to strike, was it possible to win the goddess's heart? Using the critical eye of a responsible brother-in-law, I carefully examined these few guys. This one's eyes are too small, can't tell if they're open or closed. That middle part hairstyle is too out of touch with modern trends. That one's movements are too flirtatious, looks totally unmanly. Another one is too tacky, wearing a black t-shirt with overalls. As for the one next to me, Basketball never leaves his hands, looks like he's obsessed. After looking around, I publicly announced none of them passed. None of them were my Maya's type. The guy holding the basketball asked me in public, "What is the ideal man in Maya's heart like? What do I need to do to win Maya's favor?" I actually couldn't answer. Anyway, it's not you, middle part, basketball, overalls types. Maybe I simply didn't know the answer. The reasons I picked out only represented my personal opinion. The boys held their shattered hearts and dejectedly returned to their seats. One of them even sprawled on his desk and didn't get up for the entire class. Barring any surprises, he was already playing chess with the Duke of Zhou, sleeping. Despite being a million times unwilling, I still went to pick him up at the airport on time. "Lance, you really came to pick me up. You really are responsive to Chloe's every request. That's great. Help me carry this. My arms are sore from carrying it." Chad was as annoying as ever. If it wasn't for me honoring my promises, I really wanted to ditch him right there. So freaking annoying. Trying to enslave me the moment we meet. Dream on. Didn't eat. No energy. I didn't even look at him. He watched as I got into the car expressionless, leaving him behind. So angry he was grinding his teeth. In the end, he had to load the luggage into the trunk himself. I was genuinely perplexed. It's just an interschool exchange. For a measly month. Is it really necessary to bring 3 oversized suitcases? Lance, you've been studying here for over a year. You don't even have your own car? We still have to take a taxi. Chad kept looking for trouble, muttering nonstop. If you don't want to sit, roll out. Blah 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 like a bubbling teapot. Nobody invited you in. Do you really think I have a good temper? And you can bully me however you want? Lance, you clearly promised Chloe you'd take good care of me. Believe it or not. I'll call her right now and tell her. I picked up the phone in my hand, almost shoving it right into his face. Chloe is a little cutie. Tell her everything. Tell her right now. My phone has battery. I can lend it to you. The driver couldn't hold back and burst out laughing with a pfft. Chad lost face. His face turned blue and white with anger, looking like he wished he could glare me to death. I happily hummed a tune all the way, ignoring him. I used my practical actions to make him understand. I just love seeing that look on his face where he can't stand me, but also can't do anything to me. Arriving at the school gate, the 2 cars following Chad's exchange group also stopped. After dropping him off at the dorms, I was just about to leave. He called out to me again. "Lance, I'm hungry. Treat us to hot pot." My head was full of question marks. Just how thick is your skin? "Yeah, me and my classmates, we're not familiar with this place. Treat us." Wow, the audacity. Treating just him was already giving Chloe face, and having no choice, now he actually wants me to treat his entire class. Do you think I have too much money and nowhere to spend it? I don't lack money, but you don't deserve it. Waste! No money! Farewell! I turned around and started walking. Chad, didn't you say someone would take care of everything for us here? How come he doesn't even want to treat us to hot pot? The person your girlfriend found for you isn't some broke loser, right? He doesn't treat you very well either. Or were you just bragging? They don't even take you seriously. I laughed. Sure enough, birds of a feather flocked together. Chad was vain and cared about his face. His face alternating between green and red, completely changing from his gentle demeanor in front of Chloe. Flustered and exasperated, eyes spewing fire. "Lance, if you don't treat me, I'm telling Chloe." "Oh ho ho! How old are you? Still tattletaling? How many little red stars did Chloe award you? Tell whoever you want. If you have the guts, go complain to the UN. The onlookers were amused by my words, giving Chad no face at all, laughing so hard they bent over. Turns out it was a group of plastic brotherhoods. Chad, enraged, actually pulled out his phone and made a call. Chloe picked up very quickly. He put it on speakerphone. We could all hear the conversation clearly. "Chloe." Chad's voice was gentle as always. "I arrived at schools, reporting in that I'm safe. What's wrong? Did you catch a cold? Why does your voice sound a bit hoarse?" Chloe fired back 3 questions in a row. "Nothing. It's just my classmates want to eat hot pot." "But Lance," leaving the second half unsaid. Chad looked at me as if in a difficult position. Here we go again. This strong green tea scent might be late, but it always arrives. I directly snatched the phone over. "Your boyfriend wants me to treat his entire class to hot pot. I don't have money, can't afford it. That's it. You guys keep chatting." Chad's mouth gaped open, his face full of awkwardness. He probably didn't expect me to expose his green tea nature so directly. Chloe was silent and didn't speak. The bystanders were all waiting for a good show. It was still Chad who couldn't save his face and softly called out Chloe again. In the end, Chloe transferred me $500. She said I pay, and you take them out to eat. Chad cares about his face. Don't embarrass him. I originally didn't want to reply to her, but not replying made my whole body itch. Brush, 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 I typed a few words and sent them. No time. Chloe's action excellently triggered my rebellious streak. I refunded the money, telling her to transfer it to Chad herself. At the same time, I sent her the location of the hot pot restaurant, then clapped my hands and walked away stylishly. That day, Chloe called me several times. I treated them all as if I didn't hear them and ignored them. At night, when I was about to fall asleep, Chloe sent me a message. "Chad is introverted and has low self-esteem. Give him some leeway." Chloe sending me this message in the middle of the night. Definitely wasn't trying to explain anything to me, but rather to remind me again not to make him unhappy. I didn't reply to her message, treated her like a floating cloud and swiped right past, continuing to live my peaceful little life. I don't know which nerve of Chad's short-circuited. He actually got hurt by me, and surprisingly didn't harass me for several days straight. This gave me both a pleasant surprise and astonishment. Without him completely disappearing, I could finally have some real peace. He was practically a ticking time bomb. Keeping him around, something big was bound to happen sooner or later. I unconsciously compared Chloe and Maya. When I had an accident, Chloe either didn't know or abandoned me, but Maya, whether intentionally or accidentally, it was always her protecting me. Maya could be said to be the person who cared about me the most, besides my parents. With my own power alone, I completely monopolized Maya's free time. Sometimes Maya was too busy. If I didn't see her for 2 or 3 days, I'd feel panicked in my heart, like something was missing. Maya seemed to know how I felt. No matter how busy she was, she would squeeze out time to call me. Before going back, Chad came to find me once. He kept his head down, looking sad as he professed his innocence to me. I knew his character way too well, too lazy to watch him act. Directly told him to spit it out if he had something to say. Don't play these games with me. I am not Chloe. Even if he died right in front of me, I wouldn't feel a shred of heartache. Chad looked full of grievances, lying through his teeth, saying Stella was just someone from his hometown. They had absolutely nothing going on between them. Completely clean. Told me not to overthink it. Regarding Chad and Stella's matter, I thought about it. Telling Chloe would only be a thankless task. So in the end, I just warned Chad. Go back and treat Chloe well. She truly likes you. After sending Chad onto the plane, I sent a photo to Chloe, telling her Chad had returned completely intact. Chloe very politely sent me a thank you. From her voice I could feel her joy. Tisk-tesk. I hope she can still smile after she finds out the truth. In the blink of an eye, the October Golden Week holiday arrived. Most students were like swallows returning to the nest, dragging their luggage home. Some grouped up in 3s and 5s to travel. I originally agreed with my parents not to go back, and go to Fragrant Hills with my roommates Zach and Pete to see the red leaves. My travel bag was already packed, but Maya suddenly told me the competition time was pushed forward. We had to finish all the work before the 4th. Otherwise, we'd miss the preliminary review. So I watched Zach and Pete get on the airport shuttle, leaving cheerfully in a cloud of dust, while I was dragged back to the grad school studio by Maya to bitterly finish the final touches. A perfectly good trip was cancelled. My mood was very unbeautiful. Couldn't muster up energy for anything. In Maya's words, I had been pouting with deep bitterness and hatred for several days, without a single smile. Most teachers and students had left school. The studio, which didn't have many people to begin with, only had the 2 of us. Maya, besides staring at me while I ate, just reminded me to paint well. Pay attention. It was so desolate I wanted to cry. A week-long holiday, wasted just like that. On the night of the 3rd, I kept working until 9 p.m. I was so sleepy, yawning, wanting to go back and sleep and finish it tomorrow. Maya absolutely disagreed. Using both soft and hard tactics, she dragged me to finish the remaining little bit. At 10:45 p.m., I finally returned to my dorm building. After working day and night for 3 consecutive days, my head hit the pillow and I fell asleep. In my dream, Zach and Pete were sitting in a roast duck restaurant, smiling at me, showing off the photos they took at Fragrant Hills. I was so angry I really wanted to reach through the dream and beat them up. I had planned to sleep like a pig since there was nothing to do during the holiday. Unexpectedly, the sky was barely getting bright when the phone started wailing like a ghost. I thought it was my mom. Groggily picked it up and called out, "Mom." There was a moment of silence on the other end, followed by a light chuckle. So familiar it made my ears tremble. I instantly woke up. Subconsciously looked at the screen. Maya was smiling like a fairy. "It's a huge holiday. I finished the work too. What are you bothering me for so early in the morning?" My morning grumpiness instantly reached its peak. Yelling at the top of my lungs, she laughed even harder, her eyes sparkling with stars. "Little lazy pig, stop sleeping. Taking you out to play." I didn't agree, so Maya patiently talked to me, telling me how delicious the food was there, how beautiful the scenery was there, how many painters squeezed their heads trying to go there to sketch. She said if I went, I'd very likely not want to come back. Her sweet, clear voice had a hook to it. Maya was not only a master of Chinese painting, she was an expert at other things too. Hearing the end of it, I just felt if I didn't go this time, it would simply be a massive regret in life. When I stepped out of the dorm building with my backpack, Maya was standing under a tree, quietly waiting for me, the corners of her mouth hanging with a gentle rippling smile, her gaze storing bits of starlight gentleness. The borrowed sunlight filtered through the leaves and hit her, like a person from a painting stepping into the real world. So beautiful it made my heart panic. By the time I recovered my senses, I was already in the car. "It's too early. No time to take you for breakfast. Bought this on the way. Make do with it." She placed a bag in my hand. I opened it and took a look. It was my favorite shrimp dumplings and multigrain porridge from that shop. That shop was quite far from Northern U, and the sky was just getting bright now. How early did she have to wake up? The warm porridge slowly slid down my throat into my stomach. So comfortable I wanted to sigh. I looked at Maya, focused on driving. I felt her face was truly beautiful. I often had the feeling of being unable to look away. She noticed my stare, shot a sideways glance at me, teasing with a smile. Satisfied with what you see? Maya loved to smile, sometimes like a spring breeze, sometimes warm and gentle, always making me feel very comfortable. Maya, when I get past this busy period, I'll paint a portrait for you. I specialize in figures. A peerless beauty like Maya. If I couldn't immortalize her in a painting, it would simply be a reckless waste of God's gifts. Sure, exactly what I wished for. We talked and laughed along the way. The atmosphere was relaxed and happy. I badgered her to tell me where we were going, so I could look it up and make a travel itinerary. And then in these 4 days, have a wildly good time. But Maya was acting all mysterious. No matter what I said, she wouldn't tell me, only saying I'd know when we got there. She said I would definitely love it there. We drove over a mountain, climbed over a slope, passed through a forest, and crossed several bridges, finally arriving at our destination. Sure enough, I loved this place so much. The Yanghugo Ecological Sightseeing Area is located in the hilly region of the Changbai Mountains' outer ranges. Here lay vast stretches of primeval forests, abundant and diverse vegetation, green mountains and clear waters, blue sky and white clouds. Getting off the car from the dirt road, walking for less than 30 minutes, was the main entrance to the forest park. Actually, cars could drive inside, but Maya said traveling is about the traveling part. Driving would make you miss a lot of details. Walking is more fulfilling. Maya bought the tickets. I followed her inside like a little sidekick. There were no fun amusement rides here, just pure appreciation of the scenery, looking at the mountains and waters along the way, skipping and jumping, so happy. Maya said I was like a hyper monkey. It was peak tourist season. There were quite a few tourists. Many people were discussing, saying the maple leaves here were the most beautiful to look at. Maya turned her head and smiled at me, saying, "What you miss isn't meant for you. What's right in front of your eyes is your scenery." Maya's words sounded a bit philosophical. I somewhat understood but also didn't. Is this considered an early reward for me? She walked 2 steps faster to pass me, yes and no. After getting tired from walking, the two of us sat side by side on the ground. She personally opened the photo album to show me the pictures she took of me. "Lance, look how handsome you are, Maya! Your photography skills are amazing, just as good as your painting." I couldn't help but exclaim. Was there anything Maya wasn't good at? Maya, just like when we were little, held my hand. Strolling on the mountain paths, she told me about folk painting masters I had never heard of, talked about her different interpretations of Chinese painting, talked about those small paths she led me down when we were little. Above our heads was the blue sky and white clouds, the scorching sun like a disc, surrounded by picturesque scenery. In the midst of these mountains and waters, touring with countless strangers, my heart was unexpectedly calm. "Maya, it's so beautiful here. How did you find it? You think this is beautiful? There's even more beautiful scenery ahead. Want to go see?" Maya's voice was soft and pleasant to hear, like a cello playing within this peerless scenery. When the car stopped in front of a small village, I was once again dumbfounded. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would absolutely never believe it, that there was actually such magnificent scenery in this world. If what I just saw was a fairyland on Earth, then what was laid out in front of my eyes now was the warmth of human life. "Maya, where is this?" I exclaimed in a low voice of pleasant surprise. "This is called Yanghugo Village, also known as Painter's Village. Are the people living here all painters? It's the beautiful scenery here that attracts painters to come sketch from nature. There are many painters living in the village right now. It's a pity that no matter how wonderful a paintbrush is, it can never finish painting the marvelous mountains and beautiful waters here. So I wanted to bring you to see it for yourself. Commit them all to memory. Maybe at some point it will suddenly trigger your inspiration." I stared blankly at everything in front of me, feeling my hands getting a bit itchy. "Want to paint? Eat first. Later we'll paint the sunset." Maya familiarly found a homestay. The owner heard the car and enthusiastically came out to welcome us, chatting familiarly with Maya, looking exactly like old friends of many years. "Maya, you haven't been here in so long. Finally found a boyfriend. That's great. Now I don't have to worry about you anymore." "Hello, uncle. My name is Lance Harper. She is my older sister, Maya." Being mistaken for Maya's boyfriend, I was a bit embarrassed. Before Maya could speak, I jumped in and answered the uncle's question. The boss laughed heartily, told us to play as we pleased. He went back to get our food and accommodation sorted out. Dinner was typical northern farmhouse dishes. The taste was surprisingly good. I stuffed myself so much I could barely walk. Maya laughed at me while accompanying me to stroll around the village to digest. "Maya, is there a lake here? Why is it called Yanghugu? I heard this place used to be occupied by bandits. In the early days it was called Yanghugu, Raising Bandits Valley. Don't know when. It evolved into Yanghugo, Foreign Lake Valley." "What's a bandit?" "A kind of snake. I grew up in the south. I didn't know what bandit meant in this context. Just hearing Maya say bandits occupied it, I thought bandits were some kind of soft-bodied animal." Maya laughed again, patted my head. "Bandits mean outlaws." I smiled in embarrassment, not even knowing that. I was truly ignorant and ill-informed. No wonder Maya was laughing at me. That evening, when Maya opened the trunk, the completeness of her gear shocked me. She actually brought a full set of painting tools, set everything up, then pressed me down to sit in front of the easel. Put a brush in my palm. I'll paint with you. I sat motionless and painted for a full 4 hours. The sun went down, the moon came up, the lights in all 4 corners of the homestay courtyard were turned on to illuminate things for us. 4 hours passed. I had only sketched out a rough outline. I'd have to slowly color it in after going back. For 2 consecutive days, Maya and I walked through every corner here. I committed all these lush, beautiful scenes to my memory and took lots of photos. I was going to use my paintbrush to trace out all these beautiful scenes I could never get enough of after going back, making them eternal. Beautiful times always pass easily. The journey back seemed much shorter. Maya dropped me off downstairs at my dorm, reminded me to rest well. She'd come pick me up for dinner tonight. Handing over the final draft to the competition organizers, I felt the burden on my shoulders lighten significantly and started focusing on creating the picture book for the golden anniversary couple. At first, I thought I would use the Chinese painting method. After asking carefully, I found out they wanted colored pencil. To be honest, I've specialized in Chinese painting since I was little. I've dabbled in sketching a bit, but I never practiced it too seriously. I had never used colored pencils, but I've had an unyielding spirit since I was little. Maya recommended a course for me. I learned while I painted, gradually finding joy in it, painting smoother and smoother. Originally, I only planned to use the events provided by the client as scene backgrounds, but the scenery of Yanghugo kept appearing in my mind. A new idea sprouted in me. I wanted to use the beautiful scenery of Yanghugo as the background, letting that couple who loved each other for half a century live forever in that magnificent grand scenery. Maya passed my idea on to the client. Unexpectedly, they agreed, and said if I painted it well, they would add some extra money to actually get an unexpected windfall. Besides being happy, painting became even handier, like a fish in water. Painting always makes me happy, and then gradually forgetting the unhappy past. That day, I was strolling by the basketball court. A very handsome upperclassman called out to me. "Lance Harper, right? I hear they all call you Little Brother Lanceos. I'll call you that too. Let me introduce myself. I'm a junior in the design department. My name is Tyler. I've liked Senior Maya for a long time. I've always wanted to confess to her. Just haven't found the right opportunity. They all say you're her younger brother. Can you help me give this letter to her?" I was stunned. The upperclassman likes my Maya, but my Maya is really hard to pursue. I know that, of course. Little Brother Lance just needs to help me pass the letter to her. I'll figure out the rest myself. I have confidence I can make her fall in love with me. I pinched that delicately folded love letter. Just felt like my arm was dragging a 1,000-pound weight, sore and painful. Afraid that refusing would disappoint the upperclassman, I had no choice but to reluctantly agree. Seeing me walk in holding up my right hand, Pete thought something happened to me. Asked directly, "Why does your pose look a bit like an ascending immortal? Is this you getting tired of the good life? Wanting to escape the mortal realm?" I rolled my eyes at him, ignored him, placed the love letter on the desk. The great handsome Lance received a love letter. "Let your bro help you see which delicate beauty has so much passion. Don't touch it." I slapped his hand away. "This is from upperclassman Tyler for Maya." Pete's mouth dropped open in disbelief. "Lance, do you have a heart? Actually receiving a love letter for my goddess. What's wrong with that? A good girl has 100 suitors. Whoever has the capability wins her." Pete looked at me like I was an idiot, ultimately defeated by my clear, innocent eyes, mumbled at me. "You're something else, Lance. You're ruthless. I won't say more. Think about it yourself. Anyway, let me tell you. If you dare give this letter to my goddess, I guarantee you'll make her blow her top. Impossible. Maya has never blown her top at me. I'm acting as a messenger bird for her, helping her get off the single market sooner. Isn't this a good deed of helping others? Why would she be mad at me? I don't even know what to say to you. Just don't regret it. For nearly 20 years, I've never seen someone as unromantic as you. I give up." He slapped his forehead speechlessly, then turned and threw himself on his bed, ignoring me. October 15th is Maya's birthday. I had already prepared a gift, planning to present the upperclassman's love letter along with it, adding flowers to the brocade for Maya. That day, Maya's sisters organized a table. My 2 roommates also went, about a dozen people, sitting around lively and bustling. When it came time for the gift-giving segment, everyone took out the things they prepared, along with a few cliché congratulatory phrases. Maya smiled and accepted them all one by one. When it was my turn, the private room suddenly became very quiet. Everyone stared at me eagerly. Their expectant gazes looked like old mothers hoping their sons would become dragons. "Maya, I have 2 gifts for you. This is called Good Things Come in Pairs. One is something I've prepared for a long time. The other is adding flowers to the brocade. Download Shuki novels. Search Forget the Chills to read the full episodes. I finally let go. Consider my 20 years of youth fed to the dogs." Maya smiled and nodded, her eyes swirling with gentleness like honey wine. "Okay, all right, little brother Lance. Stop keeping us in suspense. Hurry up and bring it out." "Didn't you see Maya's eyes are about to cross?" I chanted the rhythm out loud, taking out a long box tied with arid ribbon with both hands, presenting it to Maya like a treasure. The people in the room all rushed behind Maya, urging Maya to open the gift. Maya looked at me with a smile, opened the box, took out a roll of rice paper, unrolled it in front of everyone. Truly worthy of the professor calling him a genius. It looks exactly like her. Little brother Lance captured Maya's spirit so perfectly, even prettier than a photo. Totally. Look at this hair. Not a single strand is out of place. Everyone chattered away, discussing it, all saying my painting captured her spirit. What I gave Maya was a portrait I painted myself. For this painting, I hadn't slept well for several nights, focusing entirely on studying Maya's expressions. If you put all the figures I've painted before together to evaluate, Maya's painting was the smallest. But it was the pinnacle masterpiece demonstrating my painting skills. In the painting, Maya's chin was slightly raised, her black hair like a waterfall, eyes like stars, gazing into the distance with a deep, long look. The slightly curled corners of her lips gave the whole painting warmth. Maya, do you like it? I asked Maya proudly. I had confidence. Maya would definitely like it. Sure enough, Maya nodded. Her already overly beautiful eyes rippled with pieces of starlight. The corners of her lips continuously hooked upwards, her voice soft and revealing uncontrollable joy. I like it. I like Lance's gift the best. Hearing this, I cheered loudly, handing that love letter to Maya with both hands. I knew you would like it, Maya. This is the second gift I'm giving you. Everyone applaud. Celebrate Maya's impending exit from the single market. When that thin piece of paper was placed in Maya's hand, I saw an unignorable wild joy in her eyes. So much so that the hand holding the love letter was trembling slightly. Maya, be a bit more reserved, okay? At least take care of little brother Lance's feelings, won't you? Upperclassman Tyler's love letter makes you that happy? Lance, is this a gift from you to me? Maya, do you want to open it and take a look? I asked with a smile. Maya carefully put the love letter into her pocket. No rush, I'll read it when I get back. The crowd burst into another round of teasing, all saying Maya was keeping the love letter to slowly admire it alone when she got back. Too reluctant to let others know what was written, Maya didn't deny it. Just turned her head to look at me, smiling happily, starlight flashing in her eyes. This smile was so beautiful it made my mind wander. Everyone was incredibly happy, but then came the buzzkill. Pete let out a long sigh, shook his head, testing, sincerely advising, better read it now. Reading it when you get back will highly likely lead to vomiting blood. What do you mean? Manhwa leaned close to Pete. Pete gave her an you understand look. Pete pretentiously threw his hands up, pursed his lips and shot me a quick glance. Standing next to Maya, I suddenly remembered the words Pete said that night, inexplicably feeling that choosing today to give her the love letter was actually not a very good idea. Unfortunately, regret was useless now. Maya seemed to see through my unease, or thought of something, took out the love letter, opened it and read it line by line. Maya's face suddenly changed when she saw the signature on the last page. Her face turned as black as an unwashed inkstone after writing calligraphy. An aura called freezing cold seeped out of Maya's body. She turned her head and stared at me coldly. I took 2 steps back in fear, getting away from Maya's cold air radius. Maya folded the love letter back to its original state and put it back in her pocket, then turned her head and asked me, Lance, is this your wish? Maya's gaze was a bit cold and a bit distant. I suddenly started to panic, feeling like I had done something stupid. Just as I was about to shake my head and deny it, Maya had already returned to her seat, picked up a fully poured glass of wine and downed it in one gulp. I was completely bewildered right then. I helped someone deliver a love letter. How did it turn into my wish? For a moment, I couldn't figure out what exactly Maya was mad about. I looked to Pete for help, wanting him to help me analyze it. The moment this guy met my gaze, he turned his head away. Pretending he didn't know me, I returned to my seat in a daze, looking at a table full of good food, only feeling it was tasteless. Maya kept a dark face and didn't speak. Everyone played ostrich, burying their heads and eating crazily. The atmosphere at the dining table suddenly became heavy and eerie. For the rest of that meal, Maya never looked at me again. I knew Maya was mad at me. This was the first time she had ever been mad at me. The birthday party ended. We originally had plans to go to a KTV to sing. Maya just said she was tired and dispersed the group. I was still feeling regretful. For Maya's birthday, I had practiced 2 songs so hard, wanting to dedicate them to her on her birthday. Turns out, I practiced for nothing. She didn't give me the chance to sing at all. The restaurant wasn't far from school. We didn't drive over. The group walked back in 2s and 3s. I habitually went to find Maya. The weather that night was pretty good. The stars were numerous and bright. I admired the starry sky while walking, wanting Maya to look at it with me. But Maya ignored me completely, just walked coldly the whole way. Didn't even spare me a glance. After returning to the dorm with Pete, following the spirit of asking when you don't understand, I launched a discussion regarding the reason for Maya's anger. I thought as a good roommate, with me humbly asking for advice first, he would definitely tell me the reason. As a result, after Pete finished washing up, he tossed me an eye roll and lay down, leaving me alone messing in the wind. When I packed up and lay in bed, Maya's cold face kept appearing in my mind. I couldn't fall asleep no matter what. I took out my phone, found Maya's WeChat, and started message bombing. Sent over a dozen in a row, all like mud cows entering the sea, disappearing without a trace. Maya actually didn't reply to a single one. Not replying, right? Then I'll call. When I dialed the number, The other end directly prompted that the phone was turned off. Maya was probably truly furious. I had no choice but to give up. I told myself, everything will be fine tomorrow. And then I fell asleep groggily. The next day I intentionally woke up super early, holding the textbooks needed for class, happily running downstairs under the completely hopeless gazes of my 2 roommates, to meet up with Maya. According to convention, as long as Maya is at school, she will definitely come pick me up to eat. I ran to the main entrance of the dorm building, searching everywhere for Maya's silhouette. There wasn't much cover in front of the dorm door. I made my eyes sore from staring but still didn't see Maya. Maya drank quite a bit last night. Must have overslept. I dialed her number. It was better than last night, at least it was on. First the steady ringing tone, then it hung up on its own with no answer. Maya, hurry and wake up, time for breakfast. Not answering the phone meant it definitely wasn't convenient. I sent a message and started waiting. As a result, just like last night, it sank like a stone in the ocean. I had to run to the teaching building on an empty stomach for class. This was the first time Maya had stood me up without notifying me. Skipping 1 meal in the morning was nothing, but I had grown accustomed to having Maya by my side. With her suddenly vanishing, my heart felt empty and uncomfortable, like something was missing. I couldn't even focus on class, making the professor knock on my desk twice out of anger. At noon, just like the morning, I waited for over half an hour. Didn't even see a shadow of Maya. I panicked a bit, pulled out my phone and made several more calls, a solid wall of no answers. Did something happen to Maya? I ran wildly in a panic. Through the rose corridor, ran all the way to the grad school and rushed to the studio in one breath, only to find the studio doors shut tight. No matter how much I knocked, no one answered. I'm doomed. I couldn't find Maya. I returned to the dorm, looking like I lost my soul. Didn't even have the mood to eat until night fell completely. Dozens of WeChat messages sent, dozens of calls made. Maya remained completely silent. Was I abandoned once again? After lights out that night, I lay in bed. My mind was a chaotic mess. Maya threw me away too. From now on, it'll just be me alone again. I thought of the time after Mid-Autumn Festival in my senior year. I went from following Chloe around all day to being all alone. During that time, my heart felt empty every day, as if the whole world had abandoned me. Now it felt like I was back in that time. The next day, I woke up very early. I thought I had to learn to adapt to living alone again. So after washing up, I headed straight to the cafeteria. Northern U has 4 student cafeterias, featuring all major regional cuisines from north to south. There was no shortage of food. It's just that Northern U also had a lot of students. During peak hours every day, long lines formed in front of the stalls. Many favorite dishes usually couldn't be grabbed if you didn't come early. By the time I arrived at the cafeteria, it was already bustling with people everywhere. There were 20 to 30 people lined up at the soup dumpling stall. The dumpling window had even more people waiting than the soup dumpling one. I obediently lined up behind the soup dumpling line, waited about 15 minutes before it was my turn. Carrying my tray, I sat down at the nearest empty seat and seriously started eating. 1 bite of bun, 1 sip of porridge. Your little brother Lance? Just as I was focused on eating, the person across from me spoke up hesitantly. I looked up. It was actually upperclassman Tyler. My heart tightened. Truly, where in life do we not meet? What kind of garbage cafeteria is this? Can't see the people I want to see. Can't hide from the people I want to hide from. How is it? Little brother Lance? Did you give my letter to Maya? Did she say anything? The upperclassman put down his tray and sat directly across from me. I looked up and forced a smile. Upperclassman, I gave the letter to Maya, but she didn't say anything. If you want to know the result, you'll have to ask her yourself. I have a lot of classes these few days. Haven't had a chance to see her. 1 serving of buns and a bowl of porridge. I ate it all. When returning the tray, from the corner of my eye, I vaguely caught a glimpse of a familiar gentle silhouette. By the time I looked carefully, I saw nothing. For 3 consecutive days, Maya and her friends seemed to have evaporated from the face of the earth. Not a single shadow of them was seen. I didn't call her again either. Instead, I tried hard to readjust to the days of taking care of myself, because I was so afraid someone would call me a desperate simp again. On the afternoon of the 4th day after class, I saw Maya on campus. She was walking side by side with upperclassman Tyler. I don't know what upperclassman Tyler said. The smile on Maya's face was so gentle. I really wanted to go over and ask her where she had been these past few days. Why didn't she reply to my calls and messages? But Maya and the upperclassmen were chatting so happily, she definitely wouldn't want to be disturbed. So I turned and left. On the 5th day, I bumped into Maya head-on in the sunshine corridor. She was still just as beautiful. Seeing me, she froze slightly, then quickly drew her brows together. Just as I was about to speak, upperclassman Tyler caught up from behind. Maya shot me a cold glance and left with the upperclassman. The words I wanted to say got stuck in my throat, but I was also very happy. At least I confirmed Maya hadn't gotten into an accident. Then I was relieved. I didn't eat dinner that day. Sat outside until it was almost lights out time at the dorm before heading back. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Seeing Maya and upperclassman Tyler together, my heart felt terrible, but I already knew it would be like this. After all, I was the messenger bird between them. My head hurt terribly, couldn't eat, and kept having dreams when I slept. I wanted to call my parents, but was afraid they'd hear something wrong and worry about me, so I had to tough it out alone. Pete said I lost weight. My eyes lost their sparkle. It hurt him to see me like this. I felt like I might be sick. Otherwise, my head wouldn't hurt so badly. Didn't even have the energy to walk, and my vision kept going dark in waves. Until the morning of the 6th day, everyone on the floor was up. I was still sleeping quietly. Pete noticed something was wrong with me. Actually, I was conscious. I could hear all the sounds around me. I just couldn't open my eyes. Every bone in my body was sour and aching. I heard Pete discussing with another roommate in a low voice. He's so hot. Will this burn his brain out? Sitting in the wind every day. Does it even need to burn out? It wasn't smart to begin with. Stop talking nonsense, ass. Send him to the campus infirmary to get checked. Burning up like this is no good. The headache got worse. My consciousness gradually blurred. Before sinking completely into darkness, I heard someone calling me anxiously. Probably an illusion. I felt like I smelled Maya's scent. My throat was dry and uncomfortable. I woke up coughing, felt the blanket beside me being pressed down, turned my head to look. Awakened by my movements, Maya was looking at me with sleepy eyes. Those eyes that were always filled with starlight were now full of pleasant surprise and guilt. It really was Maya. Lance, you're awake. Do you want some water? Maya looked haggard beyond belief. Her voice was hoarse. I can get it myself, thank you, Maya. I struggled, wanting to sit up. The water was on the small cabinet not far away. If I just moved forward a little bit, I could reach it. A warm hand pressed on my shoulder, making me lie back down. She turned and poured some hot water into a cup, put a straw in and held it out to me. I reached out to take the cup. Maya raised her hand to dodge. Don't be stubborn. Just drink it like this. I looked at her in disbelief, but my throat was truly unbearable. After 2 sips of water, I felt much better. I kept staring at Maya unblinking. Maya, I'm fine now. Go do your things. I'm not busy today. Maya put my hand back under the blanket and tucked the corner of the blanket in for me. How did you get so skinny again after just a few days of me not watching you? Finally put 2 pounds of meat on you and it all dropped right back off. I turned my head to look out the window. Didn't answer her question. Speak. Why didn't you eat? Maya flicked her finger against my forehead. I tilted my neck and dodged it. Why didn't you answer my calls? Did I do something wrong? I couldn't hold back and asked. Then I'll just tell you I am an adult. I know what I want, so I can handle my own relationship issues. I don't want you pushing me towards someone else. Maya's voice was gentle yet carried a hint of unquestionable firmness. I didn't push. I just helped someone deliver a letter. Upperclassman Tyler's attitude was so persistent when he came to me. I figured even if I didn't give it to you, he'd find some other way to get it to you. I never once thought about pushing you toward anyone. Maya chuckled. And so? Are you still going to accept letters from other guys for me in the future? I honestly shook my head, not accepting them anymore. Still want to help me stop being single? Maya chased after with a smile. Not helping anymore, Maya, I'm sorry. I obediently apologized. Turns out Maya was mad that I delivered a letter to her for another guy. Thinking back on it now, I was indeed too careless back then. Good, I knew Lance was the best boy. Maya apologizes to you too. I shouldn't have left you alone for so many days. I won't do it again. Someone suddenly knocked on the ward door. Maya opened the door. Upperclassman Tyler walked in smiling, carrying a fruit basket. He placed the fruit basket on the small cabinet and sat right by the head of my bed. Little brother Lance, how do you feel? Anywhere else uncomfortable? I forced a smile. Having just made up with Maya, my mood was pretty good. Chatted with Upperclassman Tyler for a bit. After about 10 minutes, Upperclassman Tyler said he had other things to do and needed to head back. Told me to rest well. Maya tucked me in and went out to see Upperclassman Tyler off. The ward was a regular 6-person room, no ensuite bathroom, and I was the only one admitted. Having just finished my IV, I needed to use the restroom. I had to go to the public restroom outside. First time in this hospital, I wasn't familiar with the layout. Wandered around half the ward area before finding the restroom. Just as I was about to pull the door open to go in, I heard people talking next door. Their voices weren't loud enough for me to hear clearly. Why stop pretending? Heart aches for him? It was Upperclassman Tyler. Can't bear to see it. Maya's voice was gentle as ever. I truly didn't expect that someone like you would actually sigh. Never mind. You take good care of Lance. If you need help with anything, you can find me anytime. I don't have a chance as a lover, but you still have to leave a spot for me as a friend, right? Maya stood up with a smile. Of course. Sorry to trouble you this time. After going to the restroom and returning to the ward, I made a fuss about being discharged. Maya took me to the doctor to ask. Turns out I was quite sick. My throat was inflamed, needed to be observed for another 2 days. Could only be discharged after stabilizing. Stayed in the hospital for 3 days. Maya carefully took care of me for 3 days. The day I was discharged, Maya personally escorted me back to the dorm, drawing the attention and envy of the entire boys' dorm building. Since we made up, Maya was even more attentive to me, and even gentler. I greedily enjoyed it. Always wanting these days to last a little longer. Maya's grad school work suddenly piled up lately. Busy all day long, totally tied up. But she would always find a way to squeeze out time to keep me company. When she was too busy, she'd order takeout for me. I turned back into that happy, carefree monkey. Time quickly reached November. It got very cold outside. The students all changed into slightly thicker padded jackets. I remember it was an evening. The sunset on the horizon was particularly beautiful. Maya sent a WeChat asking me to come downstairs. Said she had something important to tell me. I threw on a padded jacket, stuffed my phone in my pocket and ran out. It had snowed a little in the morning. Pure white snowflakes hung on the branches, sparkling with fine crushed silver light. Maya stood under a tree, waving at me, her face filled with uncontrollable excitement, as if she'd encountered some incredibly great thing. Maya, are the competition results out? I dashed over like a cannonball, asking excitedly. She nodded, starlight flickering in her eyes. Lance, guess? What place did we get? It's not first place, is it? I tentatively stated my guess. Maya laughed loudly and threw herself into my arms. Of course it's first place. Our Lance is the absolute best, #1 in the world. That evening, Maya and I were in the campus that had just experienced its first snow, jumping and bounding happily. She hopped onto my back, made me carry her and sprint wildly across campus, attracting the envious gazes of many people. In the past, no matter what happened, I always wanted to share it with Chloe, but that day, I won first place in a major competition. Yet I didn't think of her. To celebrate winning first place in the competition, Maya treated my whole dorm and her close friends to dinner. By the time it ended, both my roommates and I were a bit tipsy, with our arms around each other's shoulders in the quiet night, yelling off-key songs at the top of our lungs. Maya was still very sober, escorted me all the way to the bottom of the dorm building, watched me go in, then turned and left. Lance, I see that Maya of yours, treating you like an ancestor every single day. The way she looks at you isn't normal. What exactly are your thoughts? If it's going to work or not, don't just leave her hanging. Let me tell you, that's the goddess in the hearts of all the guys at Northern U. Don't you go missing out. Here we go again. Don't know what's wrong with these people. Ever since Maya and I made up, they always have to link me and Maya together from time to time. I've explained it 100 times. That's my older sister Maya, the Maya who has doted on me the most since childhood. In her heart, I'm the younger brother and she's the older sister. This positioning's long been deeply rooted. Too lazy to explain anymore. Even if others aren't tired of hearing it, I'm tired of saying it. Rolled my eyes and pretended not to hear, pissing Zach off so much he elbowed me. You just keep being oblivious. With your EQ, I truly feel stressed for the goddess. Talking and laughing, we had just reached the 4th floor and ran into Pete, who didn't know when he had gotten back. The two of us followed Pete's footsteps into the dorm, but Pete teamed up with Zach to bring the topic back to me. Those two guys unanimously said Maya liked me, told me to cherish it and quickly lock her down. I was powerless to explain, so I had to play dead and go to sleep. I thought I would be alone for winter break again. Unexpectedly, the morning of departure, just as I stepped out of the dorm building, Maya was standing under the tree waiting for me with her suitcase. She said she hadn't been back in almost 2 years. Her family called her back for New Year. I jumped up happily and asked her why she didn't tell me earlier. Maya said she wanted to give me a surprise. Well, it was truly a surprise. With Maya on the journey home, it was much more comfortable. I was like a little kid who hadn't grown up, meticulously taken care of by her the whole way. Mom opened the door and saw me return, and with Maya too. She was stunned for a moment, then happily greeted her. Maya's back. Haven't seen you in so long. You're even prettier than before. Lance didn't cause you too much trouble at school, did he? Mom took my luggage with one hand, while enthusiastically ushering her into the house. Of course not. Lance is very sensible, not troublesome at all. Maya chatted with my mom for a bit, turned and knocked on her own front door. Within 2 seconds, my ears went numb from Auntie's piercing scream. Look how happy your auntie is. Mom pursed her lips and smiled. While unpacking my luggage, she told me that Auntie usually acts like she doesn't care, but deep down she misses Maya terribly, always muttering about her. Maya being able to come back exceeded Uncle and Auntie's expectations. Even Chloe was very surprised. She went on break earlier than us but came back a day later, because Chad wanted to play around in Kyoto for a bit. The day Chloe came back, Uncle and Auntie specifically set up a dinner gathering, saying it's been 2 years. Maya was always missing from these gatherings. This time, the two families absolutely must have a reunion dinner together, telling Chloe to go straight to the restaurant after landing. After eating, everyone would come back together. The so-called reunion dinner. The people were all there, but it wasn't as harmonious as expected. Chad came over together with Chloe. This exceeded everyone's expectations. Download Shuchi novels, search Forget the Chills to read the full episodes. I finally let go. Consider my 20 years of youth fed to the dogs. My originally happy parents saw Chloe and Chad. Their smiles instantly faded, politely greeted Chloe and didn't say another word. Uncle and Auntie's faces also turned very ugly, especially Auntie, constantly stealing glances at me and my mom. The awkwardness and annoyance on her face couldn't be hidden no matter what, I think. Those unpleasant things had already rooted themselves in everyone's memories. Maya sat next to me, very keenly noticed the change in everyone's emotions, and also saw my somewhat bitter expression because of the two of them appearing together. She quietly held my hand, squeezing tight, so tight my knuckles hurt, making me snap awake abruptly. If you're not happy, don't force it. Want to go out for a walk? Maya was always this gentle. I smiled and turned my head to look at her. No need, I'm perfectly fine. The dishes were quickly served. Uncle instructed everyone to dig in. Everyone responded and started eating in dead silence. Even Uncle Weaver and my dad, who usually liked to have a couple of drinks when they got together, quietly stared at their own chopsticks. The fish head at this place is delicious. Chad, try some. Chloe broke the silence, picked up a piece of food for Chad. It's just that she introduced the fish head, but the food she gave him was broccoli, it seems. Chloe wasn't as calm on the inside as she looked on the surface either. Chad didn't eat the food in his bowl. Instead, he stared at Maya. Chloe, is this older sister Maya? Chloe's hand holding her chopsticks paused, glanced at Maya. Yeah, she graduated from Northern UA, the same university Lance goes to. Don't you know Sister Maya? Lance, Chad went to Northern U for an exchange. And you didn't even take him to meet her? I was speechless. It's your own biological sister and you didn't introduce them. Why are you dragging me into this? Just as I was about to open my mouth to fire back, Maya pressed down on my hand resting on my leg, speaking with a dark face. Who is Chad? Why should Lance bring him to meet me? Am I supposed to meet any random cat or dog that wants to see me? Sorry, I don't have the time. Wow, those words. Freaking awesome. Chad's original intention was probably wanting to improve relations with the Weaver family members. Unexpectedly, this Maya of mine didn't give him an inch. His aggrieved face was a colorful display of emotions. Seeing Chad's desperately enduring look, Chloe's heart ached terribly. Smack! She slammed her chopsticks on the table. How can you say that? Chad is my boyfriend, not some irrelevant random cat or dog. Is that so? Maya slowly raised her eyes, staring fixedly at Chloe unblinking, her gaze sharp and cold. Nobody told me you got a boyfriend. Since he's your boyfriend, then he's a junior. Why didn't he even say hello to me when he went to Northern U? He couldn't be disrespecting me as older sister, right? This accusation was truly brilliant, so happy. Maya is backing me up. Having Maya around is great. You're so busy with your studies. It wasn't a big deal anyway, why tell you? Just focus on doing your own things well. You don't need to worry about other people's business. Mom and Dad are still alive. Either way, it's not someone else's place to run our household. Auntie put the shrimp she just peeled over mountains and seas into my bowl, raised her chin, gesturing for me to eat. Uncle Weaver lifted his eyelids and glanced at the dish. Maina, peel a few more. Lance likes to eat this. And you, Maya. We watched Lance grow up. You absolutely must take good care of him over there. Aren't I peeling them right now? If you think I'm too slow, can't you help out? No need. Mom, Dad, you guys eat. I got it. Chloe weighed things in her heart and then yielded. Chad, let me formally introduce you. This is my older sister, Maya Weaver. Sister Maya. Chad and I have been together for a long time. Because you were too busy over there, I didn't bother you. It was me who didn't think it through. I'm sorry. Chloe actually knew how to show weakness. This was beyond my expectations. Chad saw the situation was very unfavorable for him, forced a smile, and obediently followed along, calling out Sister Maya. Maya glanced at Chad out of the corner of her eye, tossed aside the napkin in her hand, and spoke up. I heard there's a young master in North City named Chad. I wonder if it's the same name. Sis, you even know about this? It's not the same name. It is him. His family had some issues. He and his mom moved over here a long time ago. Chloe hurriedly explained for Chad. Maya looked at Chloe and Chad leaning against each other. With an unreadable expression, she spoke again. Did I remember wrong? Didn't the Hua family and Zhang family in North City plan to join in marriage a long time ago? Why did you come to the south? Could it be the Zhang family saw the Hua family fall from grace and backed out? The moment Chad heard Maya mention the Zhang family of North City, his face instantly turned completely white. His body stiffened like a rock, his expression fluctuating constantly. My parents pretended they didn't hear the conversation over here. The two of them quietly discussed whether garlic broccoli should have red chili rings added. Uncle and Auntie had dark faces and said nothing. Maya and Chloe were in a silent standoff. This meal was truly exhausting. Just as I was letting my thoughts run wild, Chad suddenly looked over at me, his gaze sharp as a knife, carrying heavy hatred. Just thinking about it for a second, it was obvious. He definitely thought I was the one Wu told Maya about his cheating. But Chad's suspicion of me made sense. After all, regarding those things he did at Northern U. Of all the people present, I was the only one who knew the whole story. The atmosphere at the dining table was exceptionally heavy, making people very uncomfortable. I said a quick greeting to Uncle and Auntie and stepped out. Chad can think whatever he wants. I'm not carrying this blame. Let him misunderstand however he likes. The restaurant was styled like a traditional folk residence. It actually had a sizable backyard. A bluestone path divided the yard into two sides. Some vegetables were planted on the left. On the right sat a bamboo tea table and a few rattan chairs. I sat bored in a rattan chair scrolling through my phone, staying away from the drama at the dining table. I don't know how long passed. You sure know how to find a spot. I looked up. It was Chloe. I placed my phone face down on the table, smiled. Why aren't you keeping Chad company? He went back. I didn't ask why, and she didn't bring it up either. We just sat there quietly in our own space, as if the other person didn't exist. Chloe, you and Chad, are you guys doing okay? I tentatively spoke up. She turned her head and looked at me. A trace of warmth floated up in the depths of her beautiful eyes. This kind of smile from Chloe only appeared when she thought of Chad. Yeah, we're doing very well. What Sister Maya said about North City and the Zhang family, Chad and you. Lance Harper, shut up. Since when did you become like this? Opening your mouth just to gossip about others. So what about North City? So what about the Zhang family? Who doesn't have a past? You and I were grouped together by our families for 18 years. Does that mean I have to carry that for the rest of my life too? Chloe suddenly exploded. I laughed. Truly. As expected, good advice is hard to persuade a doomed ghost. Then let her keep wearing that green hat of forgiveness. I treated her words like wind blowing past my ears and directly ignored them. Got up and left the backyard. Where did you run off to? Why are you huffing and puffing? Did someone make you mad? In front of the restroom, I bumped into Maya. Got bitten by a rabid dog, I calmly complained. Maya's eyes darkened. Chloe provoked you again? I shook my head. No, it was me sticking my nose where it doesn't belong. Maya rolled her eyes, quickly understood what I meant, gently patted my back to comfort me. Didn't you already know this would be the outcome? Why did you still say anything? Ever heard the phrase, no good deed goes unpunished? I don't know what happened after I left the table, how Chad left, and why Chloe sat alone in the backyard for such a long time. In any case, this reunion dinner ultimately ended on a sour note again. One afternoon, I bumped into Chad at a beverage shop. His face looked a bit haggard. He said he wanted to chat with me. I remembered the look he gave me at the dinner table that day. I didn't want him to keep misunderstanding. Some things needed to be said clearly. If you have something to say it quickly. I don't have much time to waste. Chad looked up. Did you tell Chloe about what I did at Northern U? I laughed out loud. He was confessing without being pressed. Did you do anything at Northern U? Chad choked. Seemingly not expecting me to say that, he suspiciously examined my expression, as if confirming if what I said was true. If this is the purpose of you looking for me today, Chad, I can tell you, there is no wall in this world that doesn't leak wind. Look out for yourself. Lance, we're classmates. You should know me. Stella, she's just a good friend of mine in North City. We really have nothing going on between us, completely clean. Actually, I originally wanted to tell Chloe, but this isn't some huge deal anyway. It has absolutely nothing to do with our relationship, so I just didn't say it. Regarding Chad's shameless defense, I was a bit speechless, calling that nothing going on. Then going to a hotel room, in his mouth, would probably turn into partnering up to practice sumo wrestling. Chad, regarding the relationship between you and Stella, if you want to clear things up, I think it's more appropriate for you to tell Chloe. I stood up, preparing to leave. Lance, this spring festival, I will be spending it with Chloe. The showing off and provocation in his eyes couldn't be more obvious. Even if you spend it with a dog on the street, it has absolutely nothing to do with me. I'm not your daddy. No need to report to me every single time. After saying that, I turned and left. Chad watched the back of me leaving so stylishly, so angry his eyeballs almost popped out. The fact that Chad was going to spend the new year with Chloe was confirmed by Maya. It was the result of Chloe's struggle. Uncle and Auntie didn't like Chad at all, strongly opposed him coming to the house for New Year. Chloe even used methods like going on a hunger strike. Uncle and Auntie had no choice but to yield. I told my mom about this, expressing that I didn't want to spend New Year with the Weaver family anymore. Chad's character and behavior, just looking at him disgusted me, let alone spending New Year together. That would make me throw up my overnight meal, a once-a-year festival. Everyone just wants some good luck. Mom said originally we didn't plan to spend it together this year anyway, just hadn't found an excuse to decline yet. Dad is the head of the household after all. At the crucial moment, he perfectly displayed his intelligence and wisdom. With a wave of his hand, he decided the whole family would mobilize and travel to Haishi for the new year. Took our family of three's IDs and booked 3 plane tickets. Auntie Maina only found out about our decision to travel for the new year on the day of the minor new year, Shionian. She cried right then and there, covering her mouth, crying very sadly. Mom felt terrible in her heart too. With red eyes, she chatted with Auntie for an entire morning. For the minor New Year dinner, our 2 families ate separately for the first time in 20 years. I don't know how the Weaver family was doing. Anyway, our family of 3 was quite happy. Mom brought all the dishes to the table. Dad opened a bottle of red wine, poured a glass for me and my mom each. I picked up the wine glass, just about to toss out a few congratulatory words to liven up the festive atmosphere. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. I put down my wine glass and bounded over to open it. Maya, I was a bit surprised. Uncle and Auntie, I came to your house for the minor New Year dinner. Am I welcome? Mom was just worrying she had no one to gossip with, and then Maya arrived. Mom was thrilled. Welcome, welcome! Add a set of tableware. Maya kept telling my parents how excellent I was at school, saying my paintings were taken by the professor to be used as examples displayed in class, saying I relied on my own skills, and earned nearly 200,000 in one go. In the future, Mom and Dad would definitely be able to enjoy a good life thanks to me. Maya coaxed my parents so well their faces bloomed with smiles, continuously putting food in her bowl. Instead, I, the biological son, was reduced to sitting on the side as a background character. A meal ended in laughter and cheerful voices. Dad accompanied Mom to clean up the bowls and chopsticks. I pulled Maya to my room to sit down, finally getting the chance to ask the question I held in for the whole meal. Maya, why did you run to my house to eat? Isn't Auntie mad? My mom wishes she could come too. Why would she be mad? Maya smiled gently. Auntie had thoughts of coming too. My stomach full of questions, I sprawled on the desk, sticking my head right in front of Maya. Before I could even speak, a faint fragrance rushed into my nasal cavity. At that time, my thought was, Maya is truly so beautiful. Maya, having drank a little wine, looked even gentler when she smiled. I looked at Maya's soft, smooth, long hair. My hands felt a bit itchy. What do you want to do? Before my hands could even lift up, Maya reached out and secured my head, not letting me move forward any further. Uncooperatively, I twisted my neck to shake off her hand and leaned in again. I don't want to do anything. Just want to know what you meant by that. Maya gazed at me softly for a good while. Her face suddenly leaned in. The distance to me was less than 5 centimeters. I clearly saw her eyelashes trembling slightly, her lips slightly pursed, seemingly trying hard to suppress something. I had never been this close to any person of the opposite sex before, not even Chloe. My heart involuntarily started pounding thump, incredibly flustered. I had no choice but to try my best to lean my head back. As a result, I pushed too hard. The back of my head smacked against the bookshelf, hurting so much I let out an ouch. Maya sat back down as if nothing happened. So ruthless to yourself. I shot her an annoyed glare. It's all your fault. Why did you suddenly get so close? Scared me. She stared teasingly at my somewhat hot face and said, I just wanted to see if that foreign object in the corner of your eye was eye boogers. You're the eye booger. I subconsciously used my hand to pick at the corner of my eye. There really was a foreign object. It really was an eye booger. Maya unkindly burst out laughing. Later Maya told me, their food was also ready, just about to eat. Then they saw Chad standing outside the window, since he was already there, and it happened to be Minor New Year. Could they really not let him in? Although Uncle and Auntie were unhappy, but the youngest daughter was happy. It was a major holiday, they couldn't say much, so they just had to accept it. Honestly, Maya, I kinda admire you. Your future brother-in-law came for the holiday, and you, the older sister, actually ran away. That's not very nice, is it? Maya pursed her lips and smiled. Me? I can't be bothered with all that, eating at the same table as a person like that. I find it disgusting. Our family set off on the 28th of the 12th lunar month. Maya saw us off at the airport with a dark face, ignoring me the entire time, forcing me to wear out my lips, just to earn a single sentence from her. Come back soon. Spending New Year away from home for the first time felt quite novel. On New Year's Eve, we gathered with many people from all over the country and had a New Year's Eve dinner together in the hotel lobby. The hotel specifically installed a new audio system. Everyone sang and danced. It was super lively. Returning to the room, still wanting more, it was already 9 p.m. I stood in front of the hotel's floor-to-ceiling glass window, looking at the myriad of lights from thousands of homes outside, and the brilliant fireworks occasionally launching into the sky. My mood was exceptionally peaceful. A video call suddenly rang. No need to guess, I knew. It was definitely Maya. In the video, Maya was nested in her own room, looking not very happy. She wished me a happy new year. Asked me what my New Year's resolution was. I said I wanted everyone to be happy. Wanted to listen to a live concert once. Also wanted Maya to get prettier and prettier. Wanted to rely on my own skills to earn more money. And let Mom and Dad enjoy a good life. Maya chuckled. He praised me for being a good boy. Told me to come back quickly. Said Chad came over every day and was annoying her to death. If our family didn't open our doors soon, she was going to have to wander the streets. Of course she couldn't possibly wander the streets. She was just making me laugh. I very cooperatively laughed until my stomach hurt. Maya said the New Year's Eve dinner was boring. Also said Chad's performance at the table was super unlikable. The whole family, except Chloe, nobody liked him. She said she finally came back to spend a new year, and we ended up going traveling, making her house cold and cheerless. If she knew it'd be like this, she wouldn't have come back. In short, she muttered and nagged, chatting for a full hour, until I promised I'd definitely be back as soon as possible. She finally hung up the phone. I don't know if I saw it wrong. I always felt that look in Maya's eyes right before hanging up, was reluctant to part, and carried a bit of grievance from being ignored. Under Maya's once-a-day urging, Mom and Dad took me, still craving more of the trip, and returned home on the 8th day of the first lunar month. Auntie brought up having a reunion dinner again. Said we wouldn't go to a restaurant this time. Eat at home. She'd prepare it herself. We should rest first. Just wait to eat the ready-made food. Mom tactfully declined, using the excuse that she was too tired and wanted to rest properly. These past few years, every time we gathered, something would happen. We truly already had trauma regarding gatherings. By the time I woke up, the sky had turned completely dark. Continuous laughter came from outside the bedroom. Walked out to take a look. Maya was keeping my mom company washing vegetables, the two of them chatting happily. Unseen for over 10 days, Maya was still the same, beautiful beyond words. Seeing me come out, Maya's eyes became even brighter. After Maya went home, my mom told my dad privately with a teasing face. Maya was originally a bit absent-minded, but after seeing me come out, her eyes lit up so bright they were shining. Probably had some other thoughts about our son. My dad always indulged my mom. Whatever my mom said was always right. After hearing it, he nodded solemnly and whispered something back. I, eavesdropping at the door, didn't hear clearly. That night Maya ate dinner at our house. Strictly speaking, Maya cooked the dinner and then kept our family company to finish eating. This was my first time eating food personally cooked by Maya. The taste was actually very good. Watching Maya wearing an apron, bustling around in the kitchen, under the warm yellow lamplight above her head, water flowing over her slender fingers. No matter how you looked at it, it was pleasing to the eye. After dinner, Maya accompanied me out to stroll and look at the night scenery. Coincidentally, a performance was happening in front of a big mall. The music was deafening. We arrived a bit late, stood on the outermost edge, couldn't clearly see what was being performed on stage, but that was happy enough. An unintentional turn of the head. I crashed into Maya's gentle, deeply affectionate eyes. She was looking at me gently. The tenderness in the depths of her eyes was like a vast ocean, completely enveloping me. Even though the plaza was packed with thousands of people, even though the moonlight and lamplight were so dazzling. But in that moment, in Maya's eyes, I only saw the small foolishly stunned me. Maya didn't say anything, just gazed at me like that. Yet it seemed as if she had said everything, every single word. I understood implicitly in my heart. My heart suddenly started beating wildly. My face involuntarily grew hot. When we headed back, it was past 10 p.m. I was still excitedly talking non-stop to Maya about the performance we just watched. She listened patiently, occasionally responding with a couple of words. Besides that, her gaze constantly lingered on me. Don't know if it was my illusion. Maya's gaze looking at me was getting hotter and hotter. Sometimes I would mistakenly think the meaning contained in that gaze was like. But every time this happened, I would recall. That year Chloe scolded me for being a desperate simp. Only then did I know she just treated me as a neighbor brother. It was precisely because I misunderstood her feelings that I was scolded so miserably. So I didn't dare guess and I didn't dare believe. If being a neighbor brother was the only way to ensure I'd never get hurt again, I think I am willing. Don't call me useless. I'm afraid of getting hurt, and I'm afraid of the pain.